I've thought of a way to make this very simple so you will understand. Would you please give me a spotlight? Do you get what I'm saying now? This is not about you. This is about me being in the spotlight where I deserve to be.
Hello, welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful.com. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That, as always, is Stephen Jensen. Jensen, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing way better than last week. Way better.
Last week we were off. No one needs to know the behind the scenes stories of why we were off. We took the week off. I got married, so got this ring on my finger now. So we didn't do a show. I was trying to enjoy married life for a week.
Yes, very true. So I'm just getting our links retweeted here as we get rolling. There we go.
Shout out to Big Dave Batista, Big Dick Dave Batista for doing the intro as always.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Big Dave. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate it, friend. But yeah, last week, I mean, hey, so I do want to say right off the top, because this is the first show we've done since the wedding. Congratulations again. It was an awesome wedding. It was a lot of fun. It was great meeting you in person finally, and Sean and his wife Kara. And I know you don't like to put the EP's name out there, but it was great to meet her in person finally. And I mean Joel Pearl and
fuck him.
Andrew Thompson and of course Cassidy Haynes and SP3. Got to room with them and stuff. I mean it was a really good time. I appreciate the invite and yeah the plane ride back for me was really, really bad. I don't want to talk about it too much. I've talked about it a little bit on like some other podcasts, but like, I'll never fly on an airplane again ever in my life. I've made that definitive decision, but it was worth it still to be able to come out there, be at your wedding, meet all those people, and do a little action figure hunting afterwards too. You showed me that little well, it shouldn't say little. That place is huge, but yeah. That spot was really cool too. That'd be a big problem if I lived local. I'd be buying stuff all the time. I would have spent hundreds of dollars in there had I not been traveling, because I couldn't have like flown home with like a lot of the stuff in the boxes and stuff. But anyway, yeah. That all said, glad to be back this week. Missed doing the show last week, but I'm happy we're back here.
We are back. We have a lot to talk about, but before that, yes, thank you for attending the wedding. Thank you everybody for all the support and the love I've gotten over the last almost 2 weeks now, married life and whatnot. So appreciate all you guys for, hanging out and congratulating us and celebrating our love with us. But it did mean a lot that you and everyone you'd mentioned and a ton of other people like traveled from Denise Salcedo came from California.
Salcedo, of course.
Yes. Like and Joel Pearl came from Canada, his wife, who is much better than him. But yeah, the fact that
Cher traveled, she was there too. Another state.
Cher Delaware was there.
Geez, I feel bad I'm missing people, but yeah, I met like all these people pretty much for the first time, which is crazy.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone who traveled out of state to be there just to hang out and celebrate our love. So that really meant a lot to me. And again, thank you to you for doing that. And it was great to finally meet you, the Spotlight Boys, live and in person. And then we had lunch the next day. Us, Cassidy, Joel, and his wife and my new wife.
Yes, we did. It was excuse me, it was a really good time. And yeah, I liked that area too. That like Talmadge, Akron, whatever you call it.
Don't you shoot names. Don't shoot names. It's just Akron.
Just Akron. Okay.
Yeah, don't give away locations.
Yeah. Well, that was just where we had lunch. That was it. Like I don't know where we actually are around, like on like a day to day. I have no idea. But like I just had that I guess Cleveland. Did I say Cleveland? Really, everywhere I went.
Ohio. We are Ohio.
Okay, sorry. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to like dox anybody here, like throw anybody out. I'm not trying to do that. But my point was, I had no idea what to expect out of the towns that I went through, and they were all nice little towns. Like I could totally see like the little area we were at when we got lunch. There was like the spot that I went to that had like all like the used and pre-owned like DVDs and like Sega Genesises and like all like they had like all like the retro consoles and Funko Pops and AEW figures and stuff. then like right next to that, there's like a Target, and right next to that, there's like a Home Depot there, and there's like all the fast food. And I was like, oh, like yeah, if I was around here, like this would just be the street I would just get everything done on, like all the time. Like so yeah, I thought it was and the venue that you guys, you know, where you got married and everything was really really nice. Like I thought it was a cool little area. I had no idea what to expect out of it.
The wife says, send a list of things you're looking to collect, and we'll go there and ship them to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. The people at the store saw me like eyeing some stuff because there was like a Sega like a 32X there and stuff for like, and I was like considering. I was considering maybe buying. They had WCW Backstage Assault and WCW Mayhem, both like mint in box, ungraded, but like good enough condition that I could have got them graded. Yeah. And I was like, and they were like $100 each, and I was like, this actually isn't a bad price, like as crazy as that sounds. But then the dude was like, he's like, yeah, man, if you if there's stuff you need, we can always just like mail it to you. And I was like ship it out to you. And I was like, okay, great. So like, I went up to the front with more stuff than what I wound up leaving with, and they were like, oh yeah, we can't actually ship this. I didn't realize, and I was like, oh well, then I'll only take like that and that, because I gotta bust those out of the box and get them on an airplane. But but still, no, I will absolutely let y'all know. The next time you're in there, give me a heads up, because yeah, they had a ton of, I mean, yeah, between the pops and the action figures and the video game stuff, like that was a very impressive. I'm glad you told me about it too, because I was about to just go to Target, and you were like, oh, you should also check out this place. I was like, oh dude, yeah, glad you told me about that place. The place was awesome.
Yes, again, thank you for coming. Yeah, the wife says we'll shop and then just FaceTime with you.
Okay, cool.
Just look around. All right, we got a lot to talk about here. Let's get into some wrestling. We're going to start with our WWE spotlight.
Want to be a professional wrestler, or do you want to be a WWE superstar? You know, WWE superstar sounds a whole lot better to me than being a professional wrestler.
A man who is the epitome of a WWE superstar. He is back in the official reveal at Extreme Rules. Bray Wyatt back in the fold. They've had the White Rabbit, the QR codes for the past couple of weeks. We've talked about it. We all kind of figured it was going to be Bray Wyatt. If it wasn't Bray Wyatt, it seemed like it was going to be a letdown. Extreme Rules closes. They do the little cryon graphic at the end of like, here's the show closer. We're off the air. And then the lights go down. Michael Cole wonders if they're still on the air. We get references to the Firefly Funhouse. We get a door with a light shining through. And then Bray steps out from the door. He has a new mask on. He takes the mask off to reveal himself. He says he is here. Bray Wyatt's back. Stephen Jensen, what did you think of this theatrical production that they did? And what are you expecting from his return?
I thought it was a really well done return, like aesthetically, like visually and everything. And like the way that they did it, it was like, everyone knew it was going to be Bray, but there was just enough doubt that it might be something different. There might be some sort of swerve. But once he started doing the whole world in his hands, that song started looping, and the crowd was like, the anticipation was growing. And now, like it's Bray. And I saw someone online. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I know I retweeted it, so it should pop up pretty fast. They tweeted out, and it might be a stretch, but with Bray Wyatt and like in how meticulous the return was and stuff, I don't feel like anything is like a coincidence when it comes to this kind of stuff. But like there was, man, I want to give this guy credit for tweeting this, but I can't find it. But basically he tweeted out a picture of Bray's return when he went through the door, right next to a picture of when Brody Lee debuted as the Exalted One. And I was like, that there probably is something to that. Like, cause it really looked, it was like the same exact color lighting going through the door. And like the door almost looks identical. And it's like, I could totally see Bray incorporating that into his return as like a nod to Brody. So yeah, I thought the return, once again, I mean, massive pop, the holy shit chants, like immediately when he walked through the thing. And they were loud as hell. I mean, that was a really cool return. And I'm happy it was him, because it's what the fans wanted. They gave the fans what they want. I'm all for it. A little bit extra thoughts though, as far as like the future for Bray Wyatt and everything. I will say, because I thought it was I don't know what the right word is. I thought it made sense how they had like the puppets come to life in the crowd. Like I thought it was smart how they did that, and it'll be interesting to see how they explain Bray. Maybe I feel like he's like shedding that character. He's like overcome those characters. Is how it feels. But going forward, I also want to mention, like, for me personally, because I like Bray. Like I think he's a really intriguing guy, a really interesting guy. They've lost me on his character before though. Like there have been times where like my favorite version of him is like the backwoods cult leader, Wyatt family, like the original when he debuted on the main roster with Wyatt, with Rowan and Harper, and with the when they incorporated Danielson and stuff. Like I thought I really, really, really liked that version of Bray Wyatt when they made him kind of like the Undertaker wannabe, kind of like darker going into WrestleMania, his WrestleMania match with Undertaker and that kind of stuff. They lost me a little bit, and they really lost me during the Fiend. Like I thought the Fiend stuff was very intriguing, but by the time he got like burned crisp and like came back all looking weird and stuff, I was like, they just lost me so many times. The Hell in a Cell match with Seth, like there was multiple times where like they really lost me with Bray. This to me feels like the last chance for me, at least, where it's like, all right, clean slate. You're massively over, took a year off, refresh, regenerate, new boss in charge, new creative direction, new vibe, new swagger to the office, you are set up for success. Like if this version of whatever Bray Wyatt's about to do winds up flopping, months down the line, I don't know what to say, because at that point it's like, how many times do you reinvent yourself? But like, that said, I thought the return was really well done, and they're setting him up for success, in my opinion. But he really needs, in between himself and the WWE, is both have to, but they really need to capitalize on this. Like, there's a ton of buzz. He's massively over. Wasn't on Raw on Monday. I thought that was kind of a surprising move. Like, I figured they'd definitely have him on the show because people would be going nuts. But anyway, that's pretty much all my thoughts on it. I get it all out there from, his debut all the way to kind of what I think is looking like in the future. As far as like feuds and stuff, I don't know immediately, but like I know they got to do Cody versus Bray at some point.
Yeah.
The story of Husky Harris and his NXT coach Cody Rhodes, like that's got to happen at some point. So anyway, I want to hear all your thoughts on Bray's return and where you think it's going and everything.
Oh, I'm super excited. Everyone who knows me knows that I love the Fiend because it was dumb as hell and they just kept doing wacky shit. I think I became unfortunately infamous for the bits that I would do, the Fiend bits, the burnt Fiend, the chocolate syrup bit and everything like that became just part of my shtick. So I'm very excited. Not even like unironically, I guess it is ironic, but I'm excited to see where he takes this because Bray, obviously very creative. Triple H has talked about it before when he talked about Bray possibly returning, of like, Bray has a million ideas and you got to harness that into the box-like structure to keep him in line to where it doesn't get too big and just blow up everything. So they'll probably have issue doing that because he does have so many ideas. I mean, we saw with the QR codes and just the return and everything, very deep stuff that they were doing. You can not like it. I understand that, but they put a lot of thought into all of that. Like putting HTML code in there to make you go to like source codes on websites, things like that, like putting location points and whatnot, like all the different clues they were dropping and everything. Like they put a lot of thought and effort in that. And I thought it was obviously very different from what they would typically do. So I like that. I like how much Bray thinks outside the box. I don't want that contained into a box. I want it all over the place. I tweeted it and people were, I don't know how they took it. I don't care. I want all the dumb shit, Stephen Jensen. I want him setting people on fire. I was mad Raw ended with the old dudes out there just like, hey, suck it, and then celebration, and that's it. Wanted the lights to go down And when they came back up, I understand, they can't take bumps. They're too old. Triple H isn't going to take a bump. Shawn's like, none of these guys are going to take bumps. Fine. We've seen it in the past where Ric Flair couldn't take a bump, so they do the lights out, and then Flair is just down. Do that. Lights go down. They come back up, and Road Dogg is decapitated or something. Not actually decapitated. He's missing an arm. He's got a saw off his arm. I wanted saw. I wanted some saw shit out there. Like, that's what I wanted out of this. They're all bloody. Maybe somebody set on fire. What did DX do? He ran over with the tank. The tank is in the ring, and everybody is just under the tank. And Bray is on the top of the tank just laughing. This is the dumb shit that I want. That's the cool stuff that I want out of Bray Wyatt. And people are going to be like, oh, that's stupid. That's over the top. Yes, all of this is stupid and over the top. That's what was so appealing to me about The Fiend. That's why I loved it, is that, like, it kind of took itself serious. And I think Bray wanted to take itself serious, but it got so much into the realm of absurdity that's what I loved about it. And that's what I love about Bray compared to something like House of Black, where I'm not typically a fan of that stuff, because when it does take itself too serious, I don't like it. When it gets to the absurd point of, let's pull out a giant fucking mallet. Let's just light people on fire. Let's have a burnt Fiend out there. Let's have people coughing up motor oil. That's absurdity to me. That's what I want, the absurdity of all of this. And I hope he does that. The mask he's got on makes me believe he's some type of serial killer. So I assume they've already got one in Dexter Lumis. I assume he's just going to start murdering people. And that's why everybody in DX should have been decapitated at the end of the show. And then we just have a great old murder mystery on our hands, even though we know it's Bray Wyatt. Could be Dexter Lumis.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could see Dexter Lumis being like a part of this group too, potentially. I could see him.
I don't want a group. No group.
You just him alone.
No, this Wyatt 6 stuff, and it's like, oh, who are the characters and stuff. I'm with you that should be in the past. I think that's what they were kind of going for. I guess we'll see. But the whole world in his hands. They made allusions to a lot of his past characters. I think he's leaving that stuff behind, and he's gonna do something different. I don't want a group. I want Bray just doing shit on his own. I don't want him pulling. People have said Liv Morgan. There was this stuff. Joe Gacy is going to get called up. Loomis could be a factor. They got a lot of spooky people. Karrion Kross, people have said, like, they got that stuff. I want absurd Bray Wyatt on his own, just feuding with, I don't care whoever's willing to set themselves on fire and fall off of high things. That's what I want. No group though.
See, that's part of the problem with Bray though too, and it's probably honestly the biggest problem with Bray, because there are some like glaring issues that I think Bray deals with, especially from like fan perception. Like, for instance, before he was the Fiend, when he was like in between doing kind of like the one thing like the darker Undertaker-ish type stuff, he would just like talk, he would just like ramble, like just like talk in circles about just like this. It felt like he was cutting the same promo no matter who his opponent was. And it just never made any sense. And then especially if you lose the match, then it'd just be like, well, what was all that for? Like it just didn't click at certain times. And I saw Seth Rollins. I talked about this with Doug on Tuesday as well, but I know that Seth Rollins just did an interview recently. And I think there was a lot of truth to what he was saying about, like, pretty much all the opponents of the Fiend came out of it like way worse off. Like him being a good example of that, like how long it took Seth Rollins to recover after his feud with the Fiend. And I think that is a good point, and it's worth mentioning because for whatever reason, I shouldn't say whatever reason, it's because of this gimmick specifically for Bray Wyatt. Like, for his gimmick to work, he has to be winning to, usually, like mostly, and he has to be getting pushed like to a certain degree. But like, because of the character, he doesn't make really the most sense to be like the world champion of the show. So he has to win a lot, but not necessarily win the world title. So he's got to kind of avoid a certain group there. And then everyone he's wrestling, it's just kind of, it's weird. It's like a lose-lose situation, because if Bray beats them and they come out of the feud looking like way worse, like Seth Rollins did, for example, that hurts him big time. But if the Fiend loses, like that really, really, really hurts his character because the character becomes less believable. It's really hard to buy into a guy who's always talking about all this stuff, but at the end of the day, he just loses the big match. Like, so he's got to win a lot of those big matches, most of those big matches for the character to stay credible. And his character is so, integral to what he is. Like, it's one of those things where like Bray Wyatt, just as Wyndham Rotunda or whatever, just the human being, that's probably an interesting, I'm sure it's a very interesting guy, but it's like for something like the Fiend or like whatever this new character is to succeed, it has to be, he's just mega ultra character based. And so like, in a big part of that character is contingent on him winning big matches, or else it's, once again, it's just hard to buy into. So like, I just want to throw that out there also. Like, they just have to be really careful about how they book him, because you don't want his opponents coming out of it looking way worse off and having to recover afterwards. And you can't have him losing often either. So like, I'm very intrigued to see how they, like, who his opponents are going to be going forward, especially in the build up to WrestleMania, because I still got to believe Cody's taking that title off Roman. Like, I feel like it's still got to be him, but like I said, but I feel like Wyatt's got to have like some really big stuff heading into WrestleMania, and if not for the world title, like, who's it gonna, like, do you have any predictions? Like, do you think they go back to him and Rollins like pretty much right away, or something like that?
For Bray?
For Bray, yeah.
Here's the thing: there's a blueprint for Bray, and the blueprint is the Undertaker. The Undertaker wrestled however often he wrestled. It wasn't too much. And he was involved in world title stuff, especially in like Attitude Era portions. Like, he was wrestling Austin and everything. I'm talking more like SmackDown Undertaker and more early Undertaker. He doesn't need to be involved with arguably top guys. He can do shit with like The Miz. And I think Miz is about to lose to Loomis, so that's going to take some like luster off of Miz and everything right now anyway. But let's say he's on SmackDown. I don't know if you want to put him with Drew, because Drew is losing to Cross, and that's probably not going to look great. Have him do something with Cross. He can beat Cross, because I think Bray technically he's going to get cheered, so he'll be a babyface. And they're blurring a lot of lines right now when it comes to babyface heel anyway. Have them feud with somebody like Cross. Like, do that off of the gate. I don't want a group. Keep the spooky guy there together with each other. Cross can do his menacing stuff, whatever. But there's the blueprint with the Undertaker of, you can do stuff with top guys that isn't like world title stuff. And Undertaker lost. It was okay. Like, you just have to book it in a certain way of how you lose. He lost to, going back to early 90s stuff, lost to Yokozuna in the casket match. That was a world title match. Like, he lost to Foley in some matches as well. The Boiler Room Brawl. Like, he can lose matches. It's okay. It's just a matter of protecting him and the way he loses these matches. And that was something they didn't do with like the Goldberg loss of, we made him to be this super invincible guy, and then all of a sudden Goldberg comes in and beats him with a couple of spears and jackhammers.
Yeah, it was bad.
And that was that. So I think there are ways to book Bray Wyatt. I think everybody is kind of on pins and needles of how they're going to book him because of what they've done in the past. And I completely understand that. I get that. And you're right, when like he had some momentum as kind of like the Eater of Worlds stuff, like when he was feuding like the Undertaker feud, he should have won that feud against
100%. We should have beat John Cena at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he should have beat Cena.
Too.
I agree. And everyone knows I'm a big Cena guy. But
same
for booking wise, he should have beat Cena in that match as well. Like, I'm not saying have him lose every single match, but if you're gonna build him up to do something, have him win big matches that he needs to win. Definitely have him just beat kind of mid-card, upper mid-card guys. And if he's going to lose these big matches to somebody like Roman Reigns, I don't know if Roman wants to get involved in this shit. But if he's gonna to somebody like Drew McIntyre, because I do think Drew's willing to do anything, but I don't know if Drew needs to be taking a bunch of losses right now. If he's gonna do something with like Drew, there are ways to beat Bray. Just go to the Undertaker formula. study how Undertaker was booked and stayed over throughout the 90s of having big matches, winning big matches, but also losing and how he lost when he needed to lose.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. That all makes perfect sense. They just have to be careful about how Bray loses because, like you said, like they haven't done a good job of that with like the Goldberg stuff, and there's example like the Randy Orton stuff was weird too, like with his feud with Randy, like all the feuds he had with Randy wound up being really weird and stuff. Even before he was the Fiend, when they did the WrestleMania match and they put like the projector of like the worms or whatever it was on the ring. Like, I mean, it was just it's just like it's
very stupid,
goofy.
But great. Riddle's another Raw guy.
Yeah,
Riddle's a guy that like he could just beat, and people will probably be fine with that. I imagine most people will be fine with that. SmackDown, I do think it might be kind of tough.
I think Cross makes sense though. Like, I mean, I think you're on track with the prediction like that. The only issue I would have with that, to be honest, is the match itself probably wouldn't be very good unless there's like a lot of like.
Keep it do like a 5-minute match. Who cares? Like give me 5 minutes of whatever and then get out. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, Bray's a win the bell rings kind of guy. And like, look, there ain't that many great Bray Wyatt matches out there. If he ain't in the ring with the all-time GOAT Bryan Danielson,
I'm gonna say his Danielson matches were really good. Yeah.
He's probably not having a great match, but you don't need to do a 20-minute epic or anything like that. Keep it under 10 minutes and it'll be fine. I don't think you're going to see an offensive 10-minute Cross and Bray Wyatt match. I could be completely wrong, but if you keep it under 10 minutes, it'll probably be okay. And it's all about the story anyway with those two. So I do like my suggestion of let me pat myself, Barry Horowitz myself there, of a Karrion Kross feud. I don't know if that's where they're going. I have no idea where they're going with this. Honestly, if he just shows up, just does a bunch of spooky shit every single week, it's just like never wrestles, I think that'd be the greatest gimmick in the world. Just get paid millions to basically make your horror film every week, and you don't actually have to do any of the physical stuff. Like, if you get that deal, if he held them up for that kind of deal, bless that man.
Yeah, that's another level of working right there, brother.
I'm interested in the Bray stuff. It seems like he's going to be SmackDown exclusive. I will exclusively not report that Fox pushed for Bray Wyatt's return and they wanted him on SmackDown, and they said fuck USA Network, and they brought Bray back into the fold, and that is why he is back, because this was a Fox call of everything. I'm waiting for that report to come out, by the way. Somebody's going to end up reporting it just because of the optics of, he's only on SmackDown. Fox must have made this call. Oh, there you go.
Once again, I don't understand why they haven't just gotten rid of that brand split. It's so stupid to me. Like, then you have access to both rosters without having to try to like backdoor explain things and stuff. I mean, just then you don't have to make anything up. It's just like,
well, they don't even try at this point. They're just
they don't. But
just show up.
I'm just saying, like, it's just like there shouldn't even be we shouldn't even be discussing this right now. It should just be Bray Wyatt's back in the WWE, and when you see him on Fridays, you see him on Fridays. When you see him on Mondays, you see him on Mondays. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think the brand split is just a dumb idea at this point. Anyways, yeah, and also, I don't know. Do you have any other Bray Wyatt thoughts? Because I know we have another big return to talk about.
Let Bray cook. That's my final thoughts. Let Bray cook. And the other big return this week was the Good Brothers, the OC, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson. I think Sean reported that, they'd kind of been in talks, and PW Insider said that they could be in as early as the end of this month. They were in on Monday. They've been kind of alluding to it on television with AJ and Finn, and AJ not joining up with Finn in the Judgment Day. And they came back on Monday. Gallows and Anderson are back. Carl Anderson is still the never openweight champion. He's still advertised to defend the title against Hikuleo on November 5th. And they've talked about wanting to work Wrestle Kingdom and stuff. But for now, they're back in WWE. They're at least New Japan retweeted their return. So there's some type of working relationship there, some type of agreement between WWE and New Japan. But thoughts on the Good Brothers being back?
Well, yeah, that all ties together. I think that obviously it's exciting to know that there's some sort of working relationship with New Japan. Now, to what extent that is, who knows? I mean, years back, I remember Jushin Thunder Liger coming in to wrestle Tyler Breeze on NXT, and that was just a one-off thing. But I think Triple H has wanted a relationship with this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think this really opens it up. I could see this also. I really think it's going to open it up for Forbidden Door stuff that involves AEW and WWE as well at some point in the future too. Like I really do. Like I don't know if it's going to happen immediately. I know there's like Tony seems kind of salty based on like some of the interviews I've heard about like some of his attempts for some of that stuff recently. But I guess he hasn't confirmed exactly when these conversations took place. But my point is, I think that I think this is like, it's a really good sign of like good faith going forward for the WWE and like their willingness to work with other companies. I think that's huge. And for the Good Brothers, honestly, like it makes all the sense in the world because to be honest, I think they're going to stay the most over that they're going to be in New Japan. Like I think WWE, like they'll work out. Like they're like, people know who they are. Obviously they've been there before, but I would honestly have to consider their first WWE run a pretty big flop, in my opinion, based on like the expectations. And then their Impact run, like really, there was a lot of buzz when they first got to Impact, and then it just kind of like they just kind of got lost in the mix as well there. It just kind of feels like, but at least for them coming into WWE again, once again, it's giving them a big chance to succeed because you put them right with AJ. Me personally, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that agree with me and a lot of people that disagree with me about this, but like, you know, Finn Balor, he might as well honestly just go back to like cool guy Finn who paints himself every now and then, but like just join these other guys, like just do the Bullet Club thing. Like you don't even have to call it the Bullet Club. I know that the Bullet Club is played out and like it's been around forever and it doesn't have the buzz it used to have, but this Judgment Day thing just doesn't work for me at all. And like him being a part of it just seems weird. If like finally they have Gallows, Anderson and AJ, and now Triple H is in charge, and they're actually willing to like do something good with that group, like put them with Finn. Like let's actually get the group we wanted for all these years and let them do something. Because this Judgment Day thing for Finn Balor is going to be there. This isn't going to end well for him, I don't think, unless he switches sides at some point, because the Dominic Mysterio thing is going nowhere. Rhea Ripley, I think, still has a ton of potential, and so does Damian Priest. Like, there's still plenty they can do with WWE, but like, it feels like this is just some never-ending feud with Edge, and now it's like if it's going to switch into more of AJ and the Good Brothers, we'll see where it goes. But that all said, I do think that like it was cool to see Gallows and Anderson on the show, but once again, like, if it's just them and like no AJ, I don't know what their future really looks like. I feel like in WWE they're really, I don't mean to be a jerk to say this, but like I feel like they're really dependent on being kind of like attached to an AJ or a Finn or something. Like they have to be attached to something big. They kind of floundered as just themselves, you know, on WWE TV. But and then once the New Japan deal as well, or the like, I do think that Carl Anderson will still defend his title in New Japan. I'm assuming he'll probably lose the title, but that'd be badass if they got to Wrestle Kingdom, and if they wanted to open up to where like AJ or like Finn, like those guys could Wrestle Kingdom and stuff, especially if AEW still has some sort of deal with them. Where imagine if like we were seeing like matches that involve like WWE and AEW wrestlers, but it was like happening in New Japan. Like it's possible, you know. I think the WWE or AEW would want a lot of those matches, you know, for themselves, you know, obviously. But it's just the idea. I feel like the idea is way more possible now. Like if we start seeing Anderson wrestling for New Japan while under WWE contract and, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, overall, I think it's a good return.
WWE should swoop in, undercut, because Wrestle Kingdom this year is on a Wednesday, and Tony has said like, I don't know the logistics of like trying to send talent because they got to do Dynamite. And if they tape Rampage, it's going to be tough to send like a John Moxley when you have Dynamite to run. WWE should swoop in, send AJ, send the Good Brothers, do a 6-man tag or whatever. Send Finn if you need to. Do whatever you got to do. Like send some of your top talent former New Japan guys. And send Shinsuke, my
Yes.
God. Send Nakamura. He ain't really doing a lot in WWE right now. Send him back there. And then like imagine that good faith move to send those guys to New Japan for Wrestle Kingdom when AEW isn't going to send or potentially might not send any of their top guys. If WWE, if Triple H wants to really shake things up and fuck things up, this is what he's going to do. He's going to send Shinsuke, Finn, and AJ. He's gonna, here you go. You guys can use them. Who'd AEW send you? Who Tony? Who Tony sent you? The gun club? That's who he sent you? Like, I don't know about that. I don't know if Triple H is going to do that. I'm just throwing it out there. As far as the Good Brothers go, Doc Gallows, bless this man.
I saw that tweet.
He is the smartest.
Call him Kevin Nash. Yeah,
he is.
Yeah,
he does his shit. Doesn't really bump or anything. Just gets in, gets out. It does his offensive stuff. Paired with a great worker in Carl Anderson. Makes a ton of money, always takes the best business deal. Got a bunch of gimmick stuff on the side, whether it be the podcast or the animated show or whatever they get to do on the side and stuff. Loved by the boys. Just gets to do all of it. Just gets to pop himself and everything. I aspire to be Doc Gallows when I grow up. This man, as I said, he's going to go down like Kevin Nash. Everyone loves Kevin Nash now. At the time, they're like, oh, Kevin Nash is a bad worker, didn't draw and everything. Kevin Nash made money, is beloved by everyone, has great opinions, still has friends. That's Doc Gallows. Doc Gallows, you're my hero.
There you go. And I love how you're like, when I grow up and Gallows is like around our age, he's like maybe like 4 years older than we are.
I don't know if he's grown up. He's still making masturbation and dick jokes all the time.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
when we all grow up, we want to be like Doc Gallows.
True. Yeah. I hope they can continue to do Talk and Shop and Mania shows occasionally. Those things are hilarious.
Yeah, like they just pop themselves and make fun of shit. Like, again, this is what I aspire to be, Doc Gallows.
Yes. Yeah, no, I do have to give him credit for that. And listen, I know I said just a minute ago that like as a tag team, they kind of have floundered on their own in WWE and they kind of got lost in the mix in Impact. Even though they were the Impact Tag Team Champions for a lot of their run, it just felt like just kind of just mid, but I think them as people, like I think they're really cool dudes. Like I really like Gallows and Anderson. Like I think they're hilarious. Like I think Sour Boy is hilarious. Like when Anderson will do that whole thing and stuff, and like those guys, they're funny guys, and like there's a reason why they're so well, like they're always praised by the other wrestlers and stuff, just because they're always the ones like making the jokes and having a good time and drinking beer and stuff, and like it just so I wanted to say that too. Like even though I haven't been the biggest fans of like their in-ring or like I guess wrestling runs over the last like handful of years. Really since leaving New Japan, I felt like they've just been kind of like stagnant. But like that said, I'm happy that they've signed new deals, especially considering their exit before like being told, like to stay around and like believe in the company and then getting let go and then going from like especially with the interviews afterwards, it sounded like they would never go back. Like there was just no chance in hell that was ever going to happen. And then a lot of the money, but then obviously a lot of things change backstage. I mean, that can't be stressed enough. That's a huge reason why a lot of these people are coming back, and also why a lot of people want to come back. So yeah, I'm very happy that they're making money, that they're happy, they're doing their thing. Like as human beings, I think both guys definitely deserve the success. I just hope that we get more out of this second run, but once again, they're setting them up for success. Like you're putting them right back with AJ doing something Bullet Club related with Finn Balor and stuff. Like if you're gonna succeed in WWE this run around, like this would be the way to start this run off, in my opinion. So I think that's good for them.
Championship District Wrestling.
Yeah.
In the chat. Got our interview with the Diamond Sheik and Jameson Ryan coming up at around 11 a.m. Everyone stick around for that. Great interview. Great guys. Yep. We went about an hour with them. Yeah. And then we went a little longer because Jameson couldn't find his car.
Yeah. I literally, when we were like halfway through that interview, I didn't even realize, because I know we usually do about a half hour, so a half hour, 45 minutes sometimes if we're going a little long. And I realized we were getting to like an hour, and I was like, oh, damn, we've been going for an hour. Like, I didn't even realize as it was happening. But yeah, I think you guys are going to really enjoy the conversation. Cool to see Championship District Wrestling here in the chat.
Let's move on to our AEW Spotlight.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
Jensen, last night on the show, MJF cut this promo, and we saw it last week. We didn't do a show last week, but last week he beat Wheeler Yuta, and they almost did the handshake, but then Moriarty attacked Yuta, and MJF was like, what's going on here? Why are you guys doing this? And he was about to hit Yuta with the ring. William Regal came down. They got into a confrontation. Then last night he was asked about the handshake, and Stokely interrupted, and then MJF told off Stokely, and then MJF is like, everybody hates me. I hate myself too, but this is who I gotta be. I'm gonna do whatever I can to win the title. Shift in character from MJF, and I'm personally fascinated by this. And I'll get my thoughts here in a second. What are your thoughts on last night's promo and kind of this change in MJF?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. That's for sure. They're really teasing the idea of him as a babyface, but like I don't. They're in a really, it's an intriguing spot because like MJF is getting cheered, and like a lot of his like catchphrases and stuff are getting pops now. So like it's just a matter of time. I talked about this with Doug on Tuesday a bit, but it's kind of like with The Rock when The Rock was a heel like early on in his career, and he started doing all these catchphrases. The millions and millions of The Rock's fans, it started like at first no one was doing it, or you get booed. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, and finally back in X Town or whatever and stuff like that. And like eventually, like, and what's looking like, soon enough, MJF's going to be on I'm Better Than You, and the whole crowd, and it. I mean, it's like there's like it's all. So they're either preparing themselves and trying to get out ahead of it and being like, you know what, we know he's going to be getting cheered, so we might as well start the transition into. I don't want to call him a full-on babyface because I don't know if he'll ever be a full-on babyface, but I could see him similar to a Rock or an Austin, where like they don't really change much about their character or anything, but they just start wrestling heels instead, and now they're just getting cheered by. They're just wrestling people that the fans like less than them. But it is the most interesting thing about that promo to me last night was how he said he doesn't even like the guy that he is.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying like the MJF, that the real MJF is a nice guy, and I am. So here's the thing. I need to, if y'all can ever find this, I know I have it downloaded because I've had it for so long, but like MJF years ago did some interviews where he was completely out of character. And I don't want to get them mixed up, but I think it was the one that he did with Ethan Page, and Eddie Kingston might've been there as well in that one, but they did, he did a shoot interview with, it was either RF or High Spots. I can't remember. This was a long time ago, but during it, he's talking about how he's just like in real life, he's just like this anxious guy who like before his matches gets like real nervous, before he goes out in front of a crowd, gets real nervous. Like, and he just like sticks to the character because like no one else really does it in today's wrestling. And like, and you can kind of see that maybe kind of becoming a little bit more of his character going forward, where it's like, I am a good guy, but I know I have to be that guy when my music hits, because if I don't, I'm gonna get eaten up. It's like Better Call Saul. Like a big theme in that show stems from when he's a kid, he sees a guy rip his dad off right in front of him, like at a cash register, and he realizes the guy gives him the speech about like sheep and wolves, and he's like, you can either be like me and like go get the things you want, or you can be like your dad and like get taken advantage of, basically. And it's almost like that with MJF is kind of what it looks like to me, is like he knows he shouldn't be that guy, but he has to be that guy to succeed in this business. So how do you feel about it? Like, do you think that they're heading towards a babyface run, or do you think they're giving us teases of a potential babyface run so that when he like really goes even harder heel on us, like it hits us even harder, if that makes sense?
I think if he's going to go babyface run, he's definitely going to have to switch up promo stuff, because a lot of his promo stuff is just biting stuff at baby faces. And I guess you could do that to heels. And how's that going to hit with the audience? But like, you can't be bringing up past drug use and stuff. Even if it's a heel person, you can't be like, oh, your father died from an overdose. Like, that ain't a very babyface kind of tactic. So so some material's got to be switched up there if he goes babyface. I'm with you of like the catchphrases and stuff. Catchphrases are just always going to get over. And even if you're a heel, like, people are going to want to chant that shit. Like, look at Chris Jericho. Everyone still sings Judas. He's a heel. Everyone still sings Judas. If something catches on like that, it's going to, yes, they were chanting Ocho last night. So if that stuff, if you get something over like that and it catches on, babyface heel fans are going to want to react to that. I find this personality switch fascinating because I've always asked for some extra layers with MJF. I think he's been kind of hit and miss on the mic since returning. I said it the other week. I thought Yuta kind of outshined him on the mic the other week. And I'm not a fan of like, I'm going to win the title and take it to WWE. Like that was the same shit he was doing beforehand. Now we're getting a little bit more of like, I don't even like myself. Like, I've broken my hand punching my reflection, but I have no choice but to be the bad guy. And, because that's what it takes to succeed in this business. And I'm going to be the champion, and I'll do whatever it takes to be the champion. I think this is really good. I'm fascinated to see where they go with it. My only criticism is maybe a little too quick on it. Like, he came back, he introduced the firm. It seemed like everything was fine with Stokely and whatnot. And then within a couple of weeks, he's now mad at them because of how they're conducting business. And like, that's fine. Like, if he didn't ask for this, he should be mad at it. But I thought they would just give it a little bit more with the firm instead of, hey, here they are 2 weeks later. It's like, wait, you guys have fucked up already. But I'm actually, even though I think it might be a little too quick, or maybe it's just in my head of, oh, hey, it was a little too quick and I thought it was going to play out more. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that I thought it was going to play out more on this. Like, if that's how they want to go, that's how they want to go. I'm fascinated by it. And, if they are a stable and retainer, they should get this shit in line. Stokely shouldn't be going into business for himself on this. I'm really interested of where they go, because he still has the chip. And right. that's another layer to it. Like, we saw him up in the skybox eating the popcorn and stuff when Moxley and Hangman had a fucking tremendous promo segment. Moxley's in Cincinnati next week. Both you and I have kind of commented that, hey, if you're going to kind of maybe cash this thing in, Cincy after Moxley wins, this gets you tremendous heat. Do they go in that direction? So all of this could be a red herring of, hey, MJF hates himself, but he's going to do this. He's going to win the title, and he's still going to be MJF. And even if it's that, I just like that they added a little something extra to this with him. And it's not the same stuff we were seeing before he left and the first few weeks when he came back. I like this little dynamic that they've added to the character, and where they go with it, they can go with a couple of different directions with it. And whatever choice they make, regardless if I agree with this is the choice they should have made, they've now added it to his character, and I appreciate that.
And they could even make it something where it's like we start kind of feeling sympathetic for him. He keeps like, kind of driving home the idea that he doesn't like the person that he is, but like eventually he just makes it really clear, like, I hate myself, but I hate y'all way worse. Like, I hate the fans way more than I hate myself, so like, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And we talked about it before, and he mentioned it again just now. Like, that's kind of their options at this point, it feels like, is to have him win the title in Cincinnati, because that's the place you're the most likely to get a bunch of heat for him winning the title. if that's what you're looking for, which is what I think they should be looking for. I think MJF visually, like when MJF wins that world title, it should be a chorus of boos. It should be preferably NWO style where people are throwing trash in the ring and stuff. Like I would just, the more heat, the better for MJF winning that title. But that's the decision they have to make is, do you go with that or do you lean into the idea of them going back to New York soon? And like, does he win it in front of his home crowd? And the exact opposite, where like, do you want the reaction to be him getting a massive pop for winning that title in his own hometown in front of his crowd? Which I personally think he should win the title in Cincy, get the big heat, and that he's going to get massively cheered in New York and New Jersey and stuff regardless. So like, just have him be the champion going into that show and to get the hero's welcome going in as champion, because he's going to get the big pop regardless. So that's how I would do it. But that is a decision they're going to have to make really soon. I just feel like the stars are aligning way too perfectly for all this. Where like, you're going to Moxley's hometown. He has a big title defense. Him and Hangman are going to have an awesome match. And if Moxley just kind of barely, squeaks by, especially if like the firm gets involved or something to ensure that Moxley like barely wins the match, and then like he's getting like held up like by the referee at the end of the match as the champ, or the Blackpool Combat Club is like helping him to the back or something, and then boom, here comes MJF and he wins the title right after all that. Like the firm takes out the Blackpool Combat Club, so there could be nothing stopping MJF from doing what he's going to do. So yeah, I personally, that's the route I would go. I would have Moxley barely get by Hangman in Cincinnati, and then I'd have MJF cash in the chip right afterwards and win the title in Cincinnati.
Look, if they want the most amount of heat, that is certainly the way to do it. Moxley, we all know he was supposed to go on vacation after All Out. It was 6 weeks, which would align with a return in Cincinnati. That was supposed to be, he said it was part of the story, him going away. It wasn't necessarily he needed a vacation, but it was part of the story that he needed to be off of television. What that story was, we don't know. Who knows if we'll ever find out. But now they can do a thing where he loses the title like this, and then he can maybe go away, actually get his vacation. But that also doesn't seem very Jon Moxley, of getting fucked out of the title and then being off television for weeks at a time, unless they do some type of real big injury angle. And they could set that up of MJF is mad at the firm. That's why he's yelling at him. Then it's all a swerve. The firm just destroys Blackpool Combat Club on Tuesday. MJF is the big champion. Moxley gets injured and is taken out for a little while. They got directions here. They got options. It's possible we get the feel good moment in Cincy. And Jon Moxley deserves that too, of just hold the title high and he remains the champion. I'm not even fully rolling out Hangman Page winning. I don't know if that, like, I thought that promo was fucking fantastic last night. Yep. I wouldn't be mad if Hangman won. I don't really see them doing that. I think the better options, or the more likely options, are a Moxley win, go home happy, and MJF win, get massive heat. Because a Hangman win is kind of a mixed thing, and I don't know if that's where they want to go. But they got options on Tuesday. They definitely got options.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not ever against the idea of Hangman being the AEW champion again. Like, I think he definitely deserves it and could be right back there for that title. Honestly, I had things played out a different way. I would have loved it to have been, MJF beating Hangman for the world title. Like, especially if we would have known in hindsight what was going to happen with CM Punk. Like, if Punk would have never won that title off of Hangman to begin with, and we're in this spot right now with Hangman still as a champion and MJF with his poker chip, like, that would be really good stuff. But I think, considering the situation we're in, and a lot of it has to do with it being in Cincinnati. If it wasn't in Cincinnati, I could definitely see it being more possible where Hangman might win the title and then MJF comes right out afterwards and beats him for the belt. But with it being in Cincinnati, it just makes the most sense for it to be Mox getting beat by MJF for like the maximum heat. But and JD Duke said it in the chat. He said we still don't know how the chip is used. We kind of do, though. Like, Tony's basically said, like, as long as MJF announces he's going to cash it in, he just has to sanction the match. So they've been pretty vague on, like, I don't think there's any real time frame that there has to be. Like, the way that it's been set up makes it feel like he could come out at the end of the show, say, I wanted my title shot right now. And Tony just has to come out on the entrance ramp and say, he wants the shot now, it's official, so.
Other AEW spotlight. Orange Cassidy is a champion. Stephen Jensen, Orange champion. He beat Pac in the main event last night to win the AEW All-Atlantic Championship after failing multiple times to get a title. He has done it. He is the champion. I think it lasts 2 weeks before Ethan Page takes the title.
Yeah. I mean, they got to do something with Ethan. I know they've hinted that that's the title he's going to be going for, though, or they've talked about that.
They directly said that's the title he was going after.
Yeah, hinted wasn't the right word there. But he is going for that title. And it would have been cool to see him get a title shot in Canada. But
he's got to beat Matt Hardy and take his contract.
Right. Which does that? I mean, I'm sure that will happen. So, and also I'll say we'll come back to Moxley and stuff when we get to the Gage match, because there is layers in that AEW MJF feud in that as well that we have to get to. But yeah, good for Orange Cassidy, man. I mean, his first AEW match was against Pac. We're years down the road now. I think it makes sense too. I mean, Pac, if he's going to be one of the trios champs, he doesn't need both those titles. Now that said, I don't know what the point of the All Atlantic Championship is at this point still to begin with. I really don't know unless they start really, especially Orange Cassidy, like if he's going to start doing more indies again or something, like the only way this title makes sense to me is if it's defended more outside of AEW. So like, otherwise, I just don't know what the point of this belt is. It just really feels like they just made it for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and now they're just kind of like, it's here, and we'll just attach people's, flags to it to try to make it feel more international, even though the entire company is international in everything that they do. But that said, it was cool to see Orange Cassidy have a moment like that. He absolutely deserves it. One of the most over guys in AEW, pretty much from the beginning of the company. Has had some huge moments, and also some moments that like weren't technically his. Like one of my favorite matches in AEW history is Santana and Ortiz versus Best Friends in that parking lot brawl. And Orange Cassidy wasn't in that match, but he appeared during the match. Like he came out of like the trunk of the car and stuff. And like he's obviously had his big moments with like Jericho and stuff, but like this feels like them finally being like, all right, this is a reward for you doing all this great work for us for all these years, staying over. Pac doesn't need the title right now. Like, and Orange Cassidy is going to have really good matches, but I do think like it would make a lot of sense. Like they got to do something with Ethan Page, like something, and it would make sense if the All Atlantic Championship, if you won that title, and that was like the push he's going to finally get. So yeah.
It was a good moment for Orange Cassidy, and he's not a guy that needs the belt because he just kind of stays over regardless. Right. And his character is somebody who doesn't seem to care about the belts until now because Pac pushed him to this level. But in general, Orange Cassidy is not a guy like, oh, I need this title to feel good about myself or to feel like I accomplished anything. That's not Orange Cassidy. But it was a great moment. But the character reason is why I don't think he's going to hold it very long is because he just doesn't need it. It's not something that we know Orange Cassidy is like pursuing and everything. Ethan Page has made it very clear this is the title he wanted. Ethan Page also made it clear that like fuck meme wrestlers. That's why he beat Danhausen in his first not match back, but his first match after being part of the firm. He beat Danhausen, who is famously meme wrestler. Now he's doing this thing with Matt Hardy. I don't think Matt Hardy's like a meme wrestler or anything, but the broken Matt stuff was certainly very memeable. And so maybe you can kind of lump him in there. Orange Cassidy, another guy who gets grouped into the meme wrestling stuff. So there's a very clear direction, at least in my head, for Ethan Page. And that's why I think Ethan Page is going to win this belt sooner rather than later. There's just too many things coming together where it's like, yeah, Ethan Page is probably winning this thing. But a good match last night between Pac and Orange Cassidy, as you would expect from these two, and a good moment as well.
Yeah, I wonder if Orange Cassidy will bring back the backpack. Like when he was the IWTV champion, he used to just carry
the belt around. Off air. He had it off air.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. They referenced it off air. Yeah. So
Okay, well there you
it's
go.
possible. Let's move on to our other spotlight, Jensen.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
All right, let's talk about the good before we get to the bad. Impact Bound for Glory was last Friday. A lot of wrestling on Friday. Your spotlight from this was Jordynne Grace against Masha Slamovich for the Knockouts Championship. Fucking great match. But your thoughts on it?
Yeah, fantastic stuff. If you want the full review of Bound for Glory, myself and Denise Salcedo have that available right here on the same YouTube channel, right here on Fightful. I thought, just quickly, I thought that Speedball, Mike Bailey versus Kaz was a really, really good opening match on that show. I thought Titus Alexander, we'll talk about him in a second. Josh Alexander versus Eddie Edwards in the main event, I thought was fantastic as well. But my match of the night for Bound for Glory was Jordynne Grace versus Masha Slamovich. I've been such a big fan of these women. Like Jordynne, I remember first really starting to get more on my radar around. She did a tournament out of Nashville. I think it was out of the fairgrounds, if I remember correctly, called the Making Towns Classic. It was run by Papa Hales and Jeremy, or not another Jeremy. And I remember this was probably back in 2017 or so, probably. And I remember back then being oh, Jordynne Grace is going to be insanely good. She's already good, but she's going to be insanely good. And anyone who listens to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast, pretty much every week for the last 4 years, I've said they need to do more Jordynne and Impact. Whether it's, and right now they are it's great to see they're she's having banger matches. She's the Knockouts champion. And Masha really came more on my radar, I'd say probably around the pandemic. And she is another one where I'm just she both of these women, especially in Impact Wrestling, because they'll do intergender wrestling, both of them could be their world champion. And I'd have no problem with it whatsoever. I honestly think that Jordynne Grace will be the one to eventually beat Josh Alexander. When you look at their roster, she's the one that makes the most sense to me out of anyone currently on their roster with the way she's been built and the matches she's having. And I'd be fine with it being Masha too if they built it right, because even Masha losing this match, she kept her credibility because she hit the snowplow on Jordynne and pinned her for the 3, but Jordynne, just because of her landing near the ropes, she wound up kind of getting lucky and not getting pinned. But the match itself was awesome. It was just great stuff from start to finish. They gave him time. I want to say the match was probably a little over 15 minutes, probably between 15 and 20. And just great stuff. This is the kind of match where if there's anybody in 2022, because they're still out there, if you're out there and you still don't believe in high level women's wrestling for whatever reason, show this match to somebody if you know that person like that. This is a great example of I think Jordynne Grace and Masha Slamovich are every bit as good as any of the male wrestlers in the company. And I mean that, and that's not, obviously mean that as a big compliment to them. I think that they legitimately, like I just said, I think Jordynne Grace will be the one to eventually beat Josh Alexander. And that I think is going to be huge. And they kind of, to a degree, need to rewrite history a little bit because their first female world champion that didn't go over so well, long term. So you could really Jordynne gives you kind of a huge do-over if y'all know what I mean by that. And I think Jordynne is every bit as good as Tessa was, honestly. I think Masha is every bit as good as Tessa was. These women are incredibly, incredibly high level in-ring wrestlers. So yeah, if you missed their match at Slammiversary, I highly recommend checking it out. And they left it open to where this will definitely happen again at some point down the line. I think it's gonna be just as good the next time. And Masha's, if y'all don't know Masha Slamovich by now, she is money. And she's one of the best indie wrestlers in the world right now as well. She's grinding the indies, having matches against just the top names all over the place and just killing it. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about Jordynne Grace and Masha Slamovich, but the two of them rule, and y'all need to check that match out if you haven't.
There was a great intensity to this match. Everything looked crisp. It felt like they were in a real struggle, a real battle. I love the finish with the Super Grace driver off the top. I thought that looked great. Just everything looked good in this match. This is not a complaint. The only thing that caught me off guard was I thought this was going to be Masha's moment because they had been setting up. They'd been setting up like Masha just kind of running through everybody, and it seemed like this was going to be her moment to win. Jordynne Grace won. No issue with that. I think Jordynne's having a good run. But I thought they were setting up for Masha to win here. And now I'm just wondering, all right, who's going to take this title off of Jordynne? Because now she's beaten Masha. Maybe they do. And I could 100% see it going like this. Masha has talked about wanting to do some type of hardcore death match in Impact. And maybe that's the way they go, is now Masha gets it on her terms, because she did have sort of the visual pinfall. Like, Grace was in the ropes, so that counts. It's not like it was a referee knockout and middle of the ring and stuff. That's poor ring awareness, kayfabe terms, for Masha Slamovich. She should have gotten her away from the ropes there. That's great ring awareness by Jordynne. But maybe that's the way to go, is the intensity to this feud even goes up another level to where they do some type of death match, and that's how Masha takes the title. But you are correct in that. Go out of your way to see this match. It was fantastic, and Jordynne Grace and Masha Slamovich, great professional wrestlers.
Yes, and Ace in the chat says it was Bound for Glory, Stephen. It was Bound for Glory. I don't know if did I call it something else? I might have. But yeah, but Bound for Glory was the show that I'm referring to. So definitely check that out. And yeah, I mean, I could see Masha being the one to beat Jordynne. I mean, I could see Jordynne doing like a maybe they do a double
cash in for
cash in. Yeah.
Can you cash in option C? Does that work with the Knockouts title like it does for the X Division title?
Speaking of spoiler alert, skip forward for a second if you don't want spoilers. Kaz is cashing in option C already too. Like, it's going to be him and Josh Alexander at the next Impact Plus show. So, and that's kind of a good transition into the other number contenders. So let's go ahead and talk about that.
The other thing, I mean, plenty of things happened at Bound for Glory, but my spotlight is Bully Ray wins this Call Your Shot gauntlet.
Right.
And I'm just wondering why. Why is this man in any type of prominent position for a supposed major company in 2022? What are we doing with Bully Ray being in this position? I don't understand it. I'll never understand the fascination with him. Like, I know he's the Impact or TNA or whatever champion way back when. I praise him as an interviewer on Busted Open. I think he's very good. But what are we doing with Bully Ray when we got plenty of other guys on this roster? Like Steve Macklin. How could Macklin win this thing? Like, actual full-time guys who are around. Bully Ray is just going to come in and he's going to pretend that he's getting heat, and that's that. I got no time for this. And it makes me not want to watch this show, because usually something like this is going to lead to like a title reign. And I swear if they put this title on Bully Ray, this company's already been set back decades by decision-making over the years. It's going to set them back even further if they think Bully Ray's the guy that we need to put the title on in 2022 or 2023. Just
I think it's
baffling decision-making.
I think it's funny how it's a good way of putting it though, how they're what did you just say? The booking decisions have set them back decades.
Yes.
Yeah, which is true. There was someone in the Bound for Glory post show in the comments that said something like, they were like, "This is my first Impact show. Like, I really enjoyed it, but like, I felt like some of the wrong people won some of the matches." And I was like, dude, that's going to be a theme. Like, if you stick around as an Impact fan, I've been going through this since 2002 or whatever, since the Impact Asylum days out of Nashville, when I was watching these shows off Kazaa and LimeWire. Like, there's going to be Impact continually will have really, really good in-ring talent, and it'll be very interchangeable. Like, the names and faces are going to change a lot over time. But one thing you got to get used to is just bad booking decisions. Like, you just got to get used to it.
They've got Chris Bay. They've got Ace Austin. Like
they got Trey Miguel. Listen,
they should elevate Speedball past the X division at this point. Like they got good veterans, and I feel they've relied too much on them during Josh Alexander's reign. We saw it at Bound for Glory. Okay, here's Eddie Edwards. He's faced Shelley and Sabin, and I like all of these guys, but they've got talent that can be elevated, and they've been sitting on this talent for years. I feel like for like 2 years now, I've been wondering when the Ace Austin elevation is going to come. I've been wondering when the Chris Bay elevation is going to come, and it just doesn't happen. And I don't get it. I don't know if I'll ever get it. And I don't know if it's too late at this point, but it does feel like they've missed the boat on these guys. And maybe it'll happen at some point, but the further you wait, the longer you wait and stuff, the tougher it's going to be to accept, especially when you're waiting because you're putting guys like Bully Ray above them.
Yep, I completely agree. I preach this exact conversation almost every week. Like not only, like you just said, did Bully Ray win this, which is like a weird message to kind of put out. It's the same with Kaz winning the X Division title and cashing in. Is like you're bringing people in that aren't as over, that like are okay like for what they do, but like to push them over certain people that have been there for a long time that need these pushes, that it just doesn't make sense to do this. And it's the double whammy when Bully Ray comes in, wins this Call Your Shot gauntlet. I should actually say it's like a triple whammy, because Macklin, like you just mentioned, he should have won this thing based on how he's been booked and elevated recently. He should have won. But the real salt in the wound is Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay. None of those guys were even on the show.
Yeah.
Like they weren't, not only did they like not even lose or whatever, they weren't even on the show. Speedball lost his title, but I agree with you. Like they should be elevating him to the main event scene for sure. And they do. This has been a theme. This happened with Willie Mack. The same thing happened before he left. Like where they just for whatever reason just didn't push him. And it's like the talent's right there. He's over. Like why aren't you doing anything with this guy? And by the time I feel the same way. By the time that they finally decide to pull the trigger on Ace Austin or Chris Bay, it's going to be too little too late, because at that point they're going to probably already have one foot out the door, already, spinning the wheels of like where they would want to be next and stuff like that. And there's going to be a market for those guys for other companies. So like, that's, I completely agree with you. And it's been frustrating, and it's been happening forever in Impact, where just for whatever reason, like they have their kind of like homegrown wrestlers that are right there, and they're right on the brink of being like long-term stars. And whether Impact, it's a stupid mindset to have, but I don't know if it's that they're convinced and concerned that if they over push somebody that they're going to leave anyways. So they want to like really invest in like the Eddie Edwards and Sammy Callahans of the world, who like are just going to like be there forever seemingly. Or do you actually take some chances on Chris Bay, Ace Austin, and those kind of guys? And like, here's the thing. If you push them and you give them titles, like I think Jordynne Grace is a good example of this. She re-signed not that long ago with Impact. And I think it was a lot of because of this reason. She was probably given pretty good faith of like, hey, stick around, and like these are the plans we have for you, and we're gonna really do all this with you. And she's probably like, okay, this sounds good, I'll do this. But like, you know what I mean? Like by the time that they like, let's say they go to Ace Austin right now, and they're like, hey, listen, for the next year, you're gonna finally get a big push, and we're gonna give you the world title. It's like, cool, that might work out, and he might stay based on that. But I think he's way more likely to stay if he's your top guy for like 3 years straight, and then like, when he's time to resign, it's an easy decision because he's the man there. And if he's going to leave, he's going to leave. If these guys are going to leave, they're going to leave. There's nothing you can really do if you're Impact. If you're Impact Wrestling, you have literally like zero leverage when it comes to any of these wrestlers, when it comes to free agency, because WWE is going to be bigger and better for most wrestlers. AEW is going to be bigger and better for most wrestlers. And depending on who you are, some of like the top Impact stars are going to have different type of treatment and different type of deals. But there's going to be a lot of talents that are going to be in like the, who's a good example, like Lady Frost type scenario, where you're in the company, but now you're having to miss out on indie bookings because Impact isn't calling you, but you have to be available if they do call you. So like, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where like, if you're Impact, push the talent you have while you have them, because regardless of what you do with them, it's an uphill battle to retain those talents when they become free agents anyways.
baffling decision making, the story of Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them, but they continually have great talent. Like the shows are good. Like I don't have an issue with their actual product really at all. It's just outside of certain people just not getting pushed to their full potential, unfortunately. And Bully, Bully Ray winning that thing. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be like a hardcore match or something between Bully Ray and Josh Alexander or something. Like maybe that'll save it from. It'll probably wind up being better than what I'm expecting. Like they'll probably over deliver like Sami Callihan always does.
Yeah, because Josh Alexander's great.
He's awesome. Josh Alexander
Bully
rules.
Ray is in this picture. Let's get to the indie spotlight.
Yes. I'm gonna give a big motherfucking shout out.
We're giving a big motherfucking shout out to the new GCW World Champion, man who saved his career. Nick Gage defeated Jon Moxley at Fight Club with a little bit of help from W. Morrissey and Stokely Hathaway in the match. But Gage is the champion once again. I think we all kind of saw this coming when he put his career on the line, but the way Gage has been moving over the last year or so, and even the way he was kind of moving in this match, it was also like, maybe this is Gage's time. But once Moxley, it was announced he resigned, 5-year deal, and there was the kind of little language in there of like, it's going to work exclusively for AEW and international promotional partners like New Japan. It's like, oh, wait, did they just spoil the GCW result? Nick Gage is the champion once again. What do you think of this match and this decision and just everything that went into it, Jensen?
I mean, it's cool that Gage isn't going to retire because like he is still very over and like the GCW fans love him. And I don't think it's really a gimmick when he talks about like without wrestling. I don't think he really has much like, so it's like whether he's wrestling or not, I think he's going to be involved like forever when it comes to like GCW and stuff or like indie wrestling or to some degree. Like I think he just loves it too much. It's too much a part of him and it helps him too much get through like his everyday struggles that he deals with. And like, I thought the match was good for what it needed to be. It was real interesting because like to see AEW World Champion Jon Moxley get pinned by Nick Gage is pretty wild. But the way that they did it was smart. Like you said, the Firm came out, W. Morrissey came out. Obviously, Nick Gage hit some pile drivers and a choke breaker, got that pin. And this is a layer of the story that I don't really hear other people talking about. But I think that this will cross over in AEW to some degree because obviously the Firm came over for the GCW match. But we all have to remember long-term story. When Jericho and MJF were having their feud, and MJF brought in Nick Gage to AEW to wrestle Jericho in the death match as like one of the labors, they can use that as a callback too of like MJF could pretend right now like he didn't send the Firm, but like if it turns out that he did, and he's like, yeah, I owed Nick Gage one, like he came over here for me, so I helped him beat Mox over there. Plus, I'm going to beat Mox for the AEW title, so I want to hurt him as much as I can. But before we wrestle each other. So like there's a lot of layers to it that I think make a lot of sense for like the crossover, but it's finally been reporting. It's something I've known for a minute and something that was like really confirmed to me over the wedding weekend. But like, it sounds like Tony Khan didn't want Jon Moxley like doing GCW for a while now. And Mox has just been like, well, I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do it either way. So, so now it sounds like they've worked something out where like he has this deal now, like you said, where it seems in the language of it that he won't be in GCW going forward and he probably won't be popping up on indie shows, at least not as often as he had been. But that said, like good for Mox, get the bag. If you feel creatively, artistically fulfilled with the indie run that you've had, which was incredible, like that's great. Just focus on AEW, take your vacations and stuff. That's totally if anyone deserves that right now, it's that man. 1,000,000%. But yeah, cool to see the King Nick Gage with that title back. And long-term story, once again, I want Jordan Oliver to be the one to take the title off him eventually and have the story be that Jordan was the one in the gym with him, getting him prepared for this comeback, and he's got to be the one to eventually take that title from him, I think. So how do you feel about Gage winning and also not just Gage winning, but Gage pinning the current AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley?
They did it in a smart way with the AEW interference, so they could like tie it into that as like, well, he won and he did. I mean, it was 2 pile drivers and a choke breaker after W. Morrissey had come in. So it's not like it was a direct result of W. Morrissey. He had to, finish him off there. So the AEW tie-in at least helped save some things. I don't think like the AEW audience cares that Jon Moxley loses these matches.
Totally agree.
The GCW audience is just happy to see Jon Moxley there. I'm sure there's a very large portion of the AEW audience who like doesn't even watch this stuff and probably has no idea that Jon Moxley even had the title or lost the title over this weekend. So I don't think it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing for GCW and Nick Gage. It's a cool thing for Jon Moxley to do. I think if people are trying to look into it of like, oh, this looks bad for AEW, they're just looking for reasons to be upset about things, because I don't think it matters all that much to that audience. I hope Gage is good and well coming out of this. There were points where he was moving a little bit rough. I was worried about him. Jon Moxley looked a little concerned with him on a couple of stages. I don't know if Gage was looking a little bit rough the last year or so. Just moving in the ring. He took all the time off, still looked rough at points in this match. But then at the end, like he came through and all of his shit looked good. I do wonder how much of a factor of, they were supposed to be inside the showboat. They had to move outside and it looked very cold outside. I mean, it's New Jersey in October. I imagine it's pretty cold. So I do wonder if maybe his body just got a little bit stiffened out there and that's why he couldn't move as well. But as long as Gage is healthy and good and continue to go, I'm obviously happy that he's still around and doing these death matches.
For sure.
My indie spotlight, Titus Alexander wins the West Coast Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship from Jacob Fatu. Alexander's been on the show, friend of the show. He took a photo with our guy, Righteous Reg, as well. Reg has called him the AJ Styles of the West Coast out there, and we see it. We see it in his moves and everything. I thought the match was good. I do think they could have a better match. The finish was took a little while to set up and everything. Some of the stuff felt a little off, but I will say, like, it was a long match. It did not feel very long. Like, it flew right by. So Alexander and Fatu are great professional wrestlers. I do think there was another level they could have reached, and maybe they will reach in the future. But great for Titus Alexander. We're happy to see him succeed and do his thing out there on the West Coast.
Yeah, and that's something that I brought up during our interview a couple months ago. Was I was like, I want to see you and Fatu for that West Coast Pro Championship, and like it's happened. He got that title. They left meat on the bone, like you said, for rematches, which I'm sure will happen. Fatu deserves a ton of credit for. I mean, his title run. I think he started the title run around like March. He had a lot of big success, defenses against guys like Filthy Tom Lawler. Now I'm blanking. He had probably like 6 title defenses with that belt. Jacob Fatu. I'm gonna look up his title defenses real quick because he had a good run of like 6 title defenses. I want to say.
So he beat Ricochet Page, Speedball, right. Tom Lawler, Bandito, Schlack, and he beat AJ Gray to win the title. So yeah,
right. I remember him beating AJ
Speedball.
For the title. Yeah. I mean, that's I don't know how I blanked on that list, but yes, I mean, like all those names, like RSP, I think was the most recent defense. Yeah. I want to say before he lost the title. Yeah. So yeah, I and obviously Jacob Fatu, like he carried MLW on his back for years and years, and he still continues to be a big part of that product. But Titus, yeah, if y'all want to know more about Titus, check out his interview that we did right here on the Spotlight. It's also available on Fightful Overbooked as like its own video. And yeah, Titus is just a super, super talented guy. Great look, great in the ring, super athletic, innovative. And a guy who I honestly, I've said this quite a few times, but I honestly believe it. Now, especially with this West Coast Pro Championship, if he starts getting his name a little bit more out there outside of California, like if he starts coming out to like the Southeast, especially, just because it would be such a different environment for him, and the fans here would love him so much. Like, and if you get on more with like JCW, GCW, that kind of stuff, if you just get some more eyes on him, I honestly think he's going to get swooped up by a major company like really quickly, because he's going to be one of those guys that either he would come in and either be like, if you went to Impact Wrestling, he'd immediately be like an X Division champion level threat. I think you possibly world title, depending on how they booked him immediately. In AEW, I think he would be a really great long-term signing for them. For WWE, I think he would kill it in NXT, and I think he would really have a really bright future potentially in the WWE under the new regime and stuff. So like I think Titus, and in New Japan, I mean, there's other options too, or even just stay on the indies for a while and just keep grinding and really raise your value to where when you do feel like a good time to sign somewhere that makes sense, you get, your maximum kind of payout there. But yeah, I think Titus has an incredibly bright future in professional wrestling. And this is one of those milestone moments for him. Like he needed that West Coast Pro Championship to build his resume, and he's got it now. And I think he's going to have a nice, long, successful run with that title because he already pretty much is the face of that promotion. So like now the natural progression here is like, it makes sense for him to be the champion now.
Titus Alexander is a guy Impact should be throwing money at and pushing over somebody like a Bully Ray. Invest in these guys who are younger, who have a lot of goodwill on the indie scene, and who can progress in your company rather than let's bring back nostalgia acts that no one really cares about or that have kind of run their course on things they can kind of do in the company. But yeah, I hope Titus won. I think this will definitely boost him overall. I hope he starts making his way around the United States a little bit more. We talked about that with him when he joined us. But yeah, that's the next step for him really is getting out, getting more exposure outside of the West Coast, and then just continue to grow from there. But shout out to Titus Alexander. It was a tremendous interview for us and just a good guy overall. And yeah, happy to see him succeed. Impact, Scott Tamora, what are you doing? Throw that man a bunch of money, build him up as the next AJ Styles. Like let him just have banger matches and put all the belts on him. Invest in guys like that instead of the guys you're currently investing in.
Agree. Well, I gotta go clock in for work, Jeremy. So thank you guys for watching the show this week. Appreciate it as always. Sorry we missed last week, but there were circumstances. There was good reasons why we didn't do the show last week.
I was on my honeymoon. That's the reason.
Yes. You can follow me on Twitter at FightTalk_, FIGHTTALK_. Use code FightTalk on IWTV.live or IndependentWrestling.tv. Helps me out when you use that code. And tonight I'll be back. I'm doing a long day today. I had this show this morning. I'm working my full shoot job. I'll be back later tonight with Joel Pearl. We're reviewing Impact Wrestling.
Sorry about
that. No, I'm looking forward to it. We needed a fill in this week, and Joel asked me, and I was like, you know what? I'll jump on there. I like Impact Wrestling. I love Bound for Glory, or at least most of Bound for Glory. So yeah, I'll be here later tonight as well. So yeah, I'll see y'all tonight right here, same place, youtube.com/Fightful, and I'm gonna go clock in for work. Enjoy the interview with Jameson Ryan and Dark Sheik. See y'all later.
Thank you, Jensen, as always. Tell Joel Pearl he's fired. All right. We will get into our creator. There we go. Will Washington actually removed the bar from the dad look. We'll get into our creator spotlight, and we are joined by the Diamond Sheik and Jameson Ryan from Championship District Wrestling. They got a show coming up on Sunday. There are the links below. Check it out. Head over to their YouTube. You can watch past shows. Head over to, if you're in the Atlanta, Georgia area, head over to the Eventbrite link that's below, and you can purchase your tickets to go check out the show. Get into a lot of stuff with them. So if you listen to some MJF interviews, he name dropped the Diamond Sheik. The Diamond Sheik is the man who made the Dynamite Diamond Ring, the third iteration, not the first two. And he tells that story of making the Dynamite Diamond Ring and how the first two sucked. We get into who made Logan Paul's chain. So more diamond scoops for everybody. We get into some of the training stuff that they've done at Nightmare Factory, getting advice from QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes over at the Nightmare Factory. They plug their show and talk about the guys they got coming up who are going to be working their shows in the coming months, teasing some big surprises there. Guys who are backstage at previous shows who might surprise you, who might be getting involved later on. Who knows? So great interview with those guys. A lot of fun. This is their second time on the show. They bury me. If you're into that, I try to defend myself, but at some point I'll probably go to a show and they will punch me in the face. But big thank you to Jameson and Diamond Sheik. Just tremendous guys. Yeah, Diamond Sheik's the best. Who would say that? Salt of the earth. Very true. But thank you to those guys. Hope everyone enjoys the interview. We're going to get to that right now. Oh, welcome back to the Spotlight, the Creator Spotlight here on the Spotlight on Fightful. I'm going to get my own intro correct. I'm still Jeremy Lambert. That is still Stephen Jensen. And below us, two men back on the show, two-time guests on the show from Championship District Wrestling from the Nightmare Factory. They got an event Sunday, October 16th. It is Championship District Wrestling. It is, I was going to say the Diamond Championship match, but that is Diamond Sheik against Carly Bravo. And the main event is Diamond Sheik. It is Jameson Ryan. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. Semi-main. Main event, Nick Camarado and Psycho Boy Fodder. Second of all, let me cut you off right there. It's not Jameson Ryan. It's head coach of Body Guy University, Post Malone, Flex Luger, Arnold Pumpanator,
Jacked Jameson Ryan.
All right. Next time, send me the intro card so I can get it right.
You gotta be on top of this stuff, all right?
Yeah.
Too busy at the gym.
Look, and I will say the last time we had you guys on, after I talked to both of you, Diamond Sheik became my favorite wrestler. So to me, he is always the main event. All right?
That's fair.
We'll start this feud right now. Jack Jameson Ryan.
All right.
That's fair. Hey. Okay. So this is a good segue right into a good starting point for this. Okay. Last time you guys were on here, before we talked to y'all, there was a lot of beef, right? A lot of like social media beef between you two. And like you guys came on our show and you guys were going back and forth the entire time. And I tune in to Championship District Wrestling, the inaugural show, and I see you guys have been in cahoots the entire time. Like, wait a second, explain to us. Yeah, this was you swerved all of us.
It's not a swerve. It's not cahoots. It's literally just business. That's all it is. There was a means to an end. There was an easy way to do it. There was money involved. There was people involved. And we got the results we wanted. And that's the end of the story.
You know, we in the business like to call that getting worked.
Yeah. You guys worked us.
So how did it come together that you guys were working together? When did it start that, hey, let's pull won't call it a swerve, but pull to work on everybody? Who reached out to who of like, we should do this and we'll throw everybody off the track here thinking we got issues with each other?
Can I take this one? Listen, first of all, just putting it out there, Jameson Ryan is my best friend. You'll hear that a lot. He's my best friend. And when these two guys, TSF, started talking about my best friend and how they were better than him, and Brandon the Bull Bullock, who is also, what is his title? What is his official title, Jameson?
Assistant head coach at Body Guy University.
That's right. Assistant.
The Bull God, Brandon the Bull Bullock.
That's right. When they were saying they were better than them, well, both of us decided at the same time that we're not going to let that stand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's friends. TSF stands for two stupid friends. Because
you know what? It's the second best 3-letter tag team in all of the Southeast. I'll give them that. Second best. First, obviously, BGU. Got to be, right? So when they were dodging BGU left and right, no matter which territory we were in, no matter which ring we came to, when TSF was on the card, they found some way to weasel out of their match. So you know what? We made it super easy. Paid them some money, acted like I was going to hire them for my team, and then we gave them the BGU business, didn't we, buddy?
Let me tell you, there's no way to weasel your way out of a BGU beatdown, all right?
Is this a 50-50? Is this a 50-50 partnership? Like nobody's name is in front of each other. That you guys go get 50-50 on all the profits here?
I like to put his name on top of mine. That's just because he is the bigger name. You know, he's the manager with All Elite Wrestling.
I just like to be on top. I'm a bigger guy. You know what I mean?
So he's up there. But it is 50-50. We are equal partners, but I do like to put his name in the top billing because
just
Diamond Sheik.
Just to break it down for you, though. I own 25% of the company. Jameson owns 25% of the company. The company itself, District, which is the venue and the organization of Championship District Wrestling, is a sole entity. They also own 50%. So just letting you know, it is 50-50. For the most part,
they let us do what we want. They don't really care what.
Yeah, of course.
We get away with some things that maybe we shouldn't. But you know, there's no commissioner, there's no manager, so we do what we want.
Yeah. So speaking of the production, I think, has been really nice that you guys have put together. Like the way that the venue is set up and the way that it comes across, like on the YouTube channel with like all the different camera angles and stuff. Like it's a really clean looking presentation. You guys have made it look like really badass in that venue, man.
So to touch on the camera angles,
I think the word you're trying to
cameraman for show 2, the last show that we just did, and moving forward, we only use Impact Visuals, Impact Palmer, Impact Reels. He's got like 4 or 5 different Instagram accounts. But it's one guy with a camera. He does parkour and CrossFit, and he's just running around. There's Ray, Ali's brother, in the background, just moving around like crazy. He jumps up and down. I was at Southern Honor the other day. He was jumping in between the cages, trying to get the best view for the War Games match they had. He's insane, man. He's BGU all the way just because of how in shape that guy is, nonstop.
Jensen, I think the word that you were trying to find earlier is flawless. Everything we do is flawless.
Yeah,
that's exactly what we aim for. We aim for a flawless product. A product, when you look at it, you can't find any flaws. It's just enjoyable. It's good entertainment, and it's good money. That's all we aim for.
As long as we're talking about production too, real quick, Desi, Dio Photos, she does a great job with all of our pictures. Commentary team, Brandon and Gerard, best commentary team out there that's not currently on TV. Might even be able to replace some of those guys too, if I'm being honest. Our commentary team is flawless once again.
100%. And we have a show director. We have a show director, Dean Hiram. He's also a wrestler trained at the Nightmare Factory, but he's our show director. He does a great job. He's the guy behind the scenes putting everything together. He was doing the DJ duties last show. Unfortunately, he won't be here this show, but we've got people to fill in for him. But we have the best production team on any independent show.
One more plug, Uma Lerman, just to get him out there. Our announcer, great guy. Originally a wrestler, he's got some injuries.
Oh yeah,
can't really wrestle anymore. We wanted to get him on the show because everybody loves him. Threw him in the announcer spot. He's killing it.
Oh, the crowd loves Lerman. They love that guy. He's awesome.
I was putting over before we came on air here the match graphics that you guys have on your Twitter, because I see a lot of independent shows and a lot of them look very thrown together. You guys, these are great. These are flawless match graphics here.
Thank you so much. The guy who designs them is actually based out of India. I wish I could say his tag. I actually don't know, unfortunately, how to pronounce it. But if you go to any of our match graphics, he's tagged in all of them. I would definitely suggest hitting him up if you have a independent wrestling show or any kind of wrestling show and you need graphics done. He does phenomenal work.
I was going to look up the tag here, but I don't know if I'll be able to pronounce it.
It's quite a tag, yeah. I honestly, I was just being real with everyone, but if you go to any of our graphics and tap on him, his tag will pop up.
There you go. Yeah, hit him up for match graphics. These are great. Don't try to take anybody else with the production team here. They're all part of the flawless team over at Championship District Wrestling.
Right.
I was saying flawless like the diamonds that you guys do. So that's
100%.
how it's gotta be.
100%.
What was the feedback from the first show, whether it was from wrestlers, whether it's from fans, people backstage, like what kind of anything where like, hey, maybe we could have done this, maybe we could have changed this, or everything here was great.
Well,
we should do this again.
The only negative that I have personally, I've loved both shows so far. I thought every match was awesome. I thought everybody's been killing it on all levels. The only thing about the last show that both of us didn't like, we didn't have our radios. So the time was way too long. The show was too long. The live show was way too long. The YouTube show was too long. We're aware of that. It's not like we don't know that
little over 3 hours, right, for the second show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
correct.
And that's just on the YouTube. Correct. So live, it was a lot longer. It was a long day, but that crowd stayed, and the crowd was into it from start to finish. The crowd didn't seem to care how long it was, but for us personally, we know it's got to tighten up. It won't be an issue again. We got our radios. We'll hit our times. The show will be under 3 hours. That was just way too long, but that's just the only personal note that I have as far as the show going. Everything else, it's been great feedback. We have almost 10,000 views on both shows on YouTube already. It's only 2 shows. Our social media is growing. We're almost at 10,000 followers already. We've only had it for 2-3 months, I think it is.
2 months, yeah. 2.5 months.
And
yeah,
I mean. Oh, go ahead, Don.
I'm sorry.
So
all I wanted to add is that Jameson and I are both trained at the same place, which is the Nightmare Factory. And we were trained, as part of our training is not just a wrestling, like a physical training, it's a mindset training, right? So if you ever ask us if there's something about our show that we want to fix or something wrong, we will always say yes. There's always room to improve, and nobody's perfect, and that's the only way to get better. So we will constantly be putting out a better product than last time. Just want to say that for anybody that's watching or anybody that is following along with us here, you'll always see something better than you experienced last time.
And I think I'm glad you brought that up, because it's a trend I've noticed from quite a few of the trainees of the Nightmare Factory, this like entrepreneur, I can't even say the word, entrepreneurial, like spirit that's kind of like ingrained in y'all, as far as like Baron Black with Battle Slam being a good example. Like you guys are like doing some really high production stuff that's already, catching a lot of buzz, and I feel like I don't know, can you speak any more to that, as far as like just seeing kind of like your peers being so successful, not just as like wrestlers, but also like forming these companies and like doing stuff bigger than just them, just for themselves in wrestling, if that makes sense.
I'm sure Jameson will tell you this too, but we like to use our own people. We like to use people that train at the Nightmare Factory. We were all trained to be good workers and to be reliable, and everybody there has the potential to go really far in the business. I'm gonna let Jameson take it from there.
As far as the entrepreneurial, I can't say it either. But as far as that goes, like I know Casey Rocker, who's a big part of our show. He's going to be on all of our shows. He's getting over with NWA now. He's got matches all the time. He's winning on NWA. He's being trained by formerly Damian Sandow there, Aaron Stevens. And I know he is looking into starting up his promotion as well down in Florida. So it's something QT has always told everybody. There's more than one way to get a job in wrestling. So to only have a mindset of being one specific thing can only hold you back, because there's so many other opportunities through different avenues that you can go down to get a job in professional wrestling, which can always lead to other opportunities to do other stuff too.
I'm just going to take this a second to put over Jameson. If you guys like any of our storylines or anything we're doing with anybody in the show, that's all Jameson, to be honest with you. He's not just a wrestler. He's the best booker I know. He has great ideas. He has a great heart, great spirit. He wants to entertain more than anything else. So that's, he's not just a wrestler. If anybody needs a good writer or anybody to like put on a show for them, help put a show together, Jameson would be that guy 100%.
Big sports entertainer guy here.
There you go. So I was actually going to direct this question at Sheik, but now I'm going to direct it towards Jameson. But I want answers from both of y'all, because this is a very important question. Something I wrote down the second I saw it on your second show. You guys, all right. I knew you guys had involvement from one of my favorite childhood wrestlers, Ernest the Cat Miller. Okay. But I didn't expect to see the Ayatollah in action.
So
that
one I'll actually throw to Sheik.
Oh, okay. Let's go. I just want to hear all how that came together, and just kind of his like openness to doing like the different character, and just kind of how that all kind of came about.
I will say Ernest has been very open to doing anything. He just wants to help out, and he helps out over at the Nightmare Factory. Sometimes he's helped train a lot of people, so he's very willing to just get on the show and do whatever we need him to do.
What's great about Ernest is, just like I said about Jameson, they just want to entertain. They want to put on a good product. They want to be, as watchable as possible, and just make sure the crowd really feeds into it and the crowd loves what's going on. So when we gave Ernest this idea of the Ayatollah coming back from the wrestler movies, he was like, okay, if we do it, it's not Ernest. Ernest is a different guy. The Ayatollah is a different guy. So as you saw when he came out in show 2, that wasn't Ernest the Cat Miller. Ernest Cat Miller actually left the building because he couldn't wrestle. His lethal weapons weren't insured under our insurance policy. We're not trying to kill anybody. We're trying to have a wrestling match. It's not a death match.
3-time karate champion, man.
Yeah, 3-time karate champion, dangerous dude. So he had to hit the bricks. And then my client, the Ayatollah, who loves me and treats me like a son, came just because I asked him to. That's how much he said. I gotta be where? Surrounded by who? That's disgusting. But I'll do it for you. So, I had to send the limo to the airport for doing a favor, but that's how we got the Ayatollah, long and short of it.
Okay, we got one more follow up for that. And Jeremy, I wanted you to get your questions in, trust me. But I have these Ernest the Cat Miller questions. There's something I needed to bring up that I thought is an absolute travesty, because I'm a big action figure collector. As you can see, I have like signed WCW figures behind me and stuff. And I'm really into that action figure collecting. I have not been able to find one Ernest the Cat Miller or Ayatollah action figure of any kind. Not
That's
one like
because bought them all.
Him, yeah. I if he didn't buy them all, I did. But anyways, it's you know, it's the same thing with Glacier, who's also one of our trainers, Ray Lloyd. Glacier, I think, at least got like some sort of Hot Wheels made of him. Back when WCW was around. And
he has a micro brawler now, like a more current micro brawler.
Yeah, recently he did tell me that there was something in the works, and it might have been that micro brawler. But you know, anything could happen, and especially with the resurgence of wrestling in the South and what we're doing and the show we're putting on. I know people have reached out to me to do my figures. I'm sure they've reached out to Jameson to do his. So I can only imagine if
but you think they would. I look like an action figure.
Dude, yeah, very toyetic body.
Hit me
absolutely.
Up.
It'd be so easy to make you, yeah. But I mean, you might see something in the near future. So, you know, don't all hope is not lost.
When it comes to the training at the Nightmare Factory, we know Cody, we know QT, great wrestlers, but as has been stated, also a mind like outside of wrestling. So we know you get the in-ring training at the Nightmare Factory, and you guys have talked about doing other stuff. I mean, you're running your own promotion. Is there that type of training there is it a course there, or do you just pull those guys aside or somebody else aside and be like, hey, can you give us pointers on this? Like, I'm basically asking, is there more training than just in-ring kind of stuff at the Nightmare Factory? Because that's typically all we hear about.
I mean, I didn't go through the camps, so I'll let Ali talk about what they do in the camps. I started before the camp started with just QT and Ray. But I know for doing this show specifically, I went to QT because District had asked me if we wanted to do a show, if I wanted to run a show, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I went to QT and asked him if he wanted to do the Nightmare Factory shows there, because they can't really do them out of where they were, and they definitely can't do them where they were, not where they are now. And he told me, he was like, I could, but you know, you could just do it, which was, I think we talked about this the first time we were on. And it was just like, what do you mean I can do this? I can't do this. And he was like, no, you can. If I have questions, I can hit him up anytime, and he's happy to answer. Everybody there is very willing to help. They want to see us succeed because we're their students. So it looks better on them the better we do. So it makes sense that they want to help us do better.
Yeah, I didn't know if she wanted to elaborate on that at all.
Did you guys catch what he said?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I thought we were having some connection issues with Sheik. I could tell you couldn't hear what we were saying.
That's all right. It's back to the Jameson Ryan show.
Dude, all right, Jameson. So how did you get so swole?
Hey, I've been lifting since I was 12 years old. All right, I eat chicken and rice every day, chicken and beef every day. It takes about 3 or 4 hours at the gym every day. Oh, he's back. He's gonna cut me off.
You're gone for 3 seconds. This guy's already talking about his body. I mean, I asked the question to be fair though.
Go ahead and finish up, bro.
I mean, I went today. I was there for about 4 hours. I did the tanning bed. I do the hydro bed. I do the lay down bed, the UV thing, that shakes your whole body, the total body thing. If you ever go to Planet Fitness, do a big chest day. No, it's all right. We won't talk about it. We can talk about that later.
You're telling me I can lay in bed for 4 hours and get that body?
It's a bed. It's not the bed you want, but.
Okay. All right. But yeah. To backtrack a little bit, you were talking about if there's any sort of like entrepreneurial classes or anything outside of in-ring training at the Nightmare Factory, correct?
Yeah.
So I just want to go out and say, first of all, right now it's called Nightmare Fitness, and Nightmare Factory is part of Nightmare Fitness. They've expanded their brand.
We did move to McDonough. I work there now as well. Personal training, memberships, anything you need, hit me up.
That's right.
You can get trained by the head coach of Body Guy University now. That's a real thing. You can come to Nightmare Fitness. And the head coach of BGU will train you to look like BGU. You won't get in. We're not accepting. Parker Lee messed that up for everybody. We stopped doing exceptions. But I'll train you how to look like it. Go ahead, Sheik.
There you go. No, you're good, man. And so, like Jameson said, he would have been like class 0 of the Nightmare Factory because he was there just before all the camp started.
That's right. Whatnot. No class. Me and Bull, no class.
That's right. They have no class, and they're proud. So they do encourage, like you said, I think it was Jensen maybe that said the word ingrained, right? When it was talking about the people from the factory having something in them to want to be more than just an in-ring performer. And I think that a lot of that is true. We do have it ingrained. And I think it's the atmosphere is more kind of like you can really approach Cody and QT and say, hey, I have these ideas. What do you think of them? And do you think that I could do it properly? And they actually offer guidance and help more than you would think. It's not in like an official course that goes along with the training, but they're very open to our ideas and like our goals and what we could do, like to tap into our potential outside of the ring as well.
Plus, you want to talk about being ingrained in us to be entrepreneurs. We're being trained by two of the biggest entrepreneurs in wrestling. These guys
100%
not stop, the both of them, QT and Cody. They're opening up new businesses. They're doing new ventures. You know, QT worked his way from talent on Ring of Honor to being the vice president of AEW.
Vice president.
Rhodes' history is obvious. Everybody's seen that in front of their faces.
Oh, he made the biggest. He made the biggest business move of 2022, if you ask me. Out of every wrestler, I don't care what list you watch. I don't care what top 10 or whatever. Cody Rhodes is number one always in my heart for doing what he did, because he made a business move and it flipped the wrestling world upside down when he did it.
Yep. That makes two of his time and Sheik. Cody Rhodes is number one in my heart as well. Yeah, I love Cody Rhodes. I'm a massive fan. Speaking of,
guy.
Yeah.
My soul, this energy.
Let's go. Okay, so I mean, I have to ask. Have you guys been seeing him around, and like, how's he looking in recovery?
I saw him the other week. He just came by just to do some things in the office. He looks great, man. He looks great.
You can catch him on his Instagram, see a little bit of his PT process, and he's recovering. He's doing well. I actually had the honor to go to his house the other day, just to like catch up with him and talk some shop about district and a few other things. And you know, he's doing great. Brandy's doing great. Libby's doing great. The whole family's doing great. Pharaoh and Yeti are good too. You know, coach is doing great. He'll be back sooner than you think, hopefully.
Is there any chance that he'll be at any of these district shows in person?
I can tell you this. If he is, most likely you won't know.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I understand that too. I totally understand that. But that's awesome knowing that, you know, obviously I assumed he would be supporting y'all on that, but it's good to know that he's, you know, helping y'all out and answering questions, and you're that close that you're able to go to his house and get advice like that and stuff. That's awesome.
Him and QT both, man. Honestly, both of them have been our biggest supporters and biggest help, like having them at our backs to kind of like push us up. And especially like when Jameson and I ran a first show, we don't know what it takes to run a show. You know, there's so many moving parts and pieces. And now I feel like just 2 shows in, we're like, okay, you know, we're a week out. We have A, B, C, and D covered. It's going to be so much easier the day of, because we've been through it twice now. And I feel like we're just becoming super professional at running a show.
Yep. And everybody, obviously Cody and QT are more than willing to help out. Billy Gunn even helps coach over at Nightmare Fitness now, Nightmare Factory. And he actually ended up coming to our first show. People don't know this because nobody got to see him.
He was back there.
He was there, and he actually he made a comment like nobody asked him to do anything, and which is like just goes to show how willing everybody is to help out. That like, you know, in our heads it was like, well, we don't want to.
Yeah, we're not gonna disturb. You know,
like, why didn't anybody ask me to do anything?
We were like, oh snap! I guess we got to ask you to do something. So hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Which is great for me because BGU was basically just jacked DX.
Love that.
Jack DX, which Billy Gunn is Jack DX.
Does that make me the 9th wonder?
Can we delete that? So you know.
Well, have you guys scissored Daddy ass? Now I have to know.
No, I'm too nervous. I don't want to ask him. It's
maybe next time I see him, because now National Scissoring Day has been inaugurated. You know.
Yeah, maybe next time at training when like I'm selling, I'll just roll around a little too close where his hand is, and I'll just in there.
Gotcha.
Forceful scissor.
Gotcha. Surprise scissor. Yeah.
Surprise scissor.
Surprise.
Yeah. Sneak attack scissor. Ha! Got him. Yeah.
I think the availability that Cody and QT have are just as important as just any type of course that they can offer. The fact that they are willing and to give you advice pretty much anytime you ask is just as valuable as like, hey, let's have a course, and then once you do the course, that's it. No, you've learned everything, and we're not going to come back to that. So it's good that QT is taking on so many roles in AEW, and Cody is one of the busiest men in wrestling, that they still offer so much availability to you guys. Like that's just great to hear as a wrestling fan.
It's not even just us too. It's just us running the show. It's literally everybody. Everybody they train, they're always very open and willing to help out. They'll answer any questions. They always have time for everybody.
I want to ask, you mentioned him earlier, the co-main event. My man Diamond Sheik's in the main event. Nick Comoroto, who is dressing this man now? Is it you, Sheik? Because like
I think that might be 2 dimes.
Listen, I took Nick to one Louis Vuitton. All right, just one, and I just wanted to show him what the other side lives like, And now he's just gone crazy with it. I don't know if you've seen it. He calls himself Nicky Boy, wears a little fur boa, got like.
Well, he's been hanging out with Cole Carter. Cole was recently in the Mafia.
Cole's one of my boys too, man. But Nick's just coming into his own thing, and I think it's becoming a really a good thing for him. And everybody's wanting to see where he goes with it. And I'm going to tell you this: the man is hilarious. Actually, if you know him in real life, he's a really good sport. He's a good dude, and he knows how to have a good time. So maybe that'll come out, and you'll see that more.
And speaking of the opposite of that, Psycho Boy Fodder is not a good dude. He is not nice. Not about a good time.
Let me tell you, this guy, I hit him with the belt by accident, in that gauntlet match, and I kind of steer clear of him backstage now because I already know that if I get too close, it's like, you put a finger out, the shark's going to chop it off. So.
Yeah, ever since then, man, those control your narrative guys, they're not too happy around the backstage and locker rooms. They got their own thing going on. We still book them. We bring them in. I'm still cool with them. Sheik's a little off. The rest of the roster got their issues with them. They're a little hostile right now. We're trying to keep things cool with the CYN guys, but we'll see. We'll see what.
One of them we have to suspend him. I don't know if you saw, but he snuck a materials to do a fireball.
The fireball. You guys see the fireball?
We didn't prove that at all. We do security checks on all the bags. I don't know.
Real and raw Argus Dog. Fireball shoots Frankie Phil to one of the dicks, dudes in kimonos, right in the face. With
I have to pay. I have to pay for his hospital bill. I have to pay for Frankie's hospital bill. Poor guy. He can't see out of one eye now.
Oh, the whole building smelled like just burnt dick.
Yeah. Horribly burnt dude in kimono, just everywhere. Just the odor of it, just bad. Like silk. Yeah, silk and dick. That's all I can say is what it smelled like. Burnt silk and dick. Yeah.
There you go.
Flawless
transition. And I mean, Sheik, I want to talk about your title match here in just a second, because that's obviously a very important part of the show coming up.
The main event.
Yes. The main event.
Jeremy Lambert. Yes. Jeremy's like, after the Sheik wrestles, I'm going home. I don't care what happens.
Yeah, everybody, whatever. You might have a big surprise in the advertised main event. Doesn't matter. Once Sheik wrestles, I'm out.
I'll tell you this, Mark, Jeremy, stick around, okay? There's some good stuff for you. You'll smile from ear to ear. But yes, let's talk about
anybody but Jeremy. Anybody but Jeremy, stick around.
Well, before we get to Harley, I also want to shout out that I heard, if my mind serves me correctly, I think it was during the MJF interview on Ariel Helwani's show. He was talking about the Diamond Ring, and I believe he brought your name up on that show, if I remember correctly. Which that's got to be cool. Like I always see like your name coming up with like rappers or like people who you're their jeweler. It's just really cool, like seeing your name pop up like outside the wrestling world like that.
On a little tour here while you talk and show.
Oh. Sure, yeah, you could show them. This is my second home where Jameson is right now.
It's working at Lux right now.
Mm-hmm. This is what I built. That's the store right there.
Nice.
I don't know if you could flip it around or show you guys, but
you get the idea.
Yeah, that's so true.
But yeah, so MJF and I are very close as far as our personal relationship goes. I made that Dynamite Diamond Ring, and it was the third iteration of the ring. I don't like to bury anybody, but whoever made the first two did a shitty job, and it was a horrible ring. The third ring,
not flawless.
That's a good headline right there. I love it. I like that.
The third ring blows it out of the water. Okay, it's valued at $125,000. All real diamonds, all real gold. There's a video of me diamond testing it with a legitimate diamond tester, mind you, not one of the fake ones that all these Instagram influencers like to use in the middle of a mall. It's an actual real diamond tester you could buy for $350. You have to go to a jewelry broker website to buy it. Made that for MJF. He loved it so much that he had the ring around for about a month. He pulls me to the side and goes, "Hey, man, I want you to make an engagement ring for me. I can talk about it now because it's already happened." So that's 2 rings actually made that MJF is in possession of. But yeah, he's good to me. I don't know if I could say he's a good dude because he's not everybody's cup of tea. But definitely salt of the earth as much as I'm concerned.
And Josh Allen jersey in Buffalo, which really pissed me off a lot. But
hey, like I said, he's not gonna be everybody's favorite wrestler, but I like the guy, and he's been nothing but nice to me. So that's all I can speak about it. But yeah, I did create that ring. Lux Jewelers, my company, created that ring, and it was my idea. I pitched it to Cody, and Cody's like, "Can you do that in 15 days?" Because we were 15 days out. It was at a dark taping in Orlando that I pitched it to him, and it was December 1st, I believe, or something like that. He's like, "We're like 15 days out from winter is coming. Can you do it in that time?" And I said, "Hells yeah, I can do it. I'm the best there is. Don't even worry about it." Got it done. Got the contract made.
Kind.
That's right.
Handmade, lifetime warranty. Come by, Mall of Georgia. I'll hook you up.
Oh, Sheik's internet is.
For a second.
All right, back to my workout.
Okay. All right, I'm back now. Yeah.
Okay.
So to answer your question, yes, did make that ring. He did give me a nice shout out on that podcast. I was listening, and it was great. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Have you been contacted to do the 4th one?
I'm sure I will be soon because I don't know if they're going to do it again at Winter is Coming, but it's around the corner and they know that I do good work. So there you go.
Do you, this is somewhat of a wrestling related question nowadays. Do you think that are you familiar with Logan Paul's impulsive chain that he gave to Aaron Carter? It was like a whole debate, this whole debate about it last year, whether or not they're wearing real diamonds and stuff. Do you think that Logan Paul, not to call him out specifically, I guess, but do you see a lot of that in where you see somebody and you're like, that's so fake, they're flexing and it's so fake?
As a jeweler, having done this since I was 15 years old, what happens and what's being said in my mind is probably not a very good thing, but I've been, brought up to be a professional, so it doesn't ever come out of my mouth. But yes, there are times where I look at something and I know what it is, but everybody has their own situation, and I'm understanding of that. People that shop with me all have their own situation. They all have different ways to get what they need and finance and do whatever they need to do. What I can say about Logan Paul is that if you've seen the chain that he wore to WrestleMania or to one of his boxing matches, it's the chain that you could load a graded Pokemon card into. Right. It has a Pokeball on it and everything. My cousin here in Atlanta, his name is Sonny the Jeweler. He actually made that chain for Logan Paul. So I know I can say without a shadow of a doubt that all the stones and the gold on that chain are legitimate for sure, 100%. The impulsive chain, awesome. Not sure who made it, but there's a lot of, I like to call them foolers. There's a lot of foolers out there that pretend to be jewelers. So
see, in that particular situation, if mine's heard me correct, I believe it was more about so Aaron Carter traded change with Logan Paul, and I think there was a lot more debate on whether or not Aaron Carter's chain was real or not. And I'm sure there's a lot of, but anyway, I just figured I'd ask you about that because I thought that was something that was interesting, just from your perspective, knowing that everything you do is as professional, as it gets, just kind of seeing, I'm sure you see a lot of that, on the flip side as well. So.
Oh, 100%. I know a jeweler in Atlanta who's being sued by 3 different artists because he was supposed to commission them pieces and diamonds and he used moistenites. So, that's some people try to cut corners like that just to make a buck. We don't do that. We believe that you should pay the price for what you want. And that's what we charge you. We sit down with you every step of the way. If you guys ever need a custom piece done, we'll sit down with you and go through everything, all the options with you, and completely understand what you're getting.
That's awesome. Well, and speaking of getting the best, that diamond belt that's on the line, Carly Bravo, give us your thoughts. How you been preparing? Is this guy a major threat to your title? I think he is. I've seen a lot of his work. Got to see him live at Battle Slam a few times. Very impressive guy. Seen some of his AEW work. Captain Sean Dean, him and they doing good work together. So what's your preparation, kind of your thoughts going into this match? Because I mean, not only is it's one thing to lose a championship, it's another thing to lose a championship that valuable.
Sure. Jameson, did you have something to say real quick?
Just to throw in quick plug. the Infantry, Sean Dean and Kylie Bravo, will be at CDW next month. So Championship District Wrestling, the Infantry, Sean Dean and Kylie Bravo.
There you go.
That's our November show. Yeah, November 27th, I believe the date is right now. But let me get back to the topic. How did it happen? Like I said, Jameson and I, we are 50% of the company. There's another 50% that Carly Bravo had his people call in and basically say that he wants a title shot. And they thought, just like you did, like you've seen his work ethic, you've seen what he can do, and they thought that he deserved a shot. But me being part owner in the company, I said, listen, we can give him a shot. I understand that it's a draw. It's going to sell tickets. I get it. But we have to do it under Sheik's rules. And they said, well, what are Sheik's rules? And I said, I'll send you the black and white. You can read them yourself. So Jameson and I, we were at work one day, and Jameson asked me what the Sheik's rules were. I'll give you a few of them. I don't want to give them all away. We'll go more into it on the day of. But first of all, one rule that I really like is that you cannot strike with a closed fist. Okay? This isn't a punching match. It's a wrestling match. You got to open up that fist. Open palm strikes only. All right? Another rule that I like is that he cannot go through the middle rope or over the top rope or jump off the top rope to attack me, and I can't do that to him either. All right? That will be disqualified. Fair. Yeah, it's not gymnastics. It's wrestling. All right? So you could land perfectly. You're not going to get a 10 from me. You're going to get out because you got disqualified, So that's, we got a few rules that we got to stick to make sure it stays fair and even in a wrestling match, and that he doesn't get to do all the crazy stuff that he usually likes to do. If he wants to wrestle me and beat me in a wrestling match, he can try to do that, but that's as far as it's going to go.
I like these rules. I like not going off the top rope. Very old school WCW. Come off the top rope, DQ. Not having any of that. Yeah,
it's an iteration of Watt's rules that my coach QT used to use, but I got a few extra ones put in there just in case he tries to get funny or smart. He won't be able to do that. Yeah, a little something up the sleeve.
Now, how's the training with Jameson been going? Like the cardio good? You look in great shape. How's the training been going?
It's been going good, man. I've been lifting a lot of food into my mouth, which he actually told me to do because he said you need calories to burn calories. So Jameson eats more than me, actually. He eats way more than I do, but he eats better. He eats better than me too. So
people ask me what my secret is in my diet. I eat a whole family bag of Doritos from Costco at least once a week.
At least once a week. At least. Okay. Hey, Taco Bell. This guy goes apeshit. Just
Taco Bell. I had that.
What's your Taco Bell order?
Yeah,
give me your Taco Bell order.
Steak quesadilla, cheesy gordita crunch, and a crunch wrap supreme.
Okay, I'm cheesy gordita crunch guy right here every time. Yes, sir.
Crunch wrap, yeah. Crunch wrap is tremendous.
Sheik, what's your Taco Bell order?
Yeah.
Hey, those Dorito Tacos Locos, substitute the beef for chicken. Get that sour cream out of there. That sounds like a good day to me.
Those are very good too.
Yeah, I love it. Jameson, this Sunday, what do you got going on, man? What's the future of Body Guy University looking like?
Oh, well, we got a big tag gauntlet going on. There's nothing really at stake in this tag gauntlet per se. It's just for bragging rights, but Championship District Wrestling, being the promotion that it is, taking off. We got people from all over hitting us up now. People from AEW are hitting us up. Recent people that were just in WWE, NXT are hitting us up. We're booking all of them, so we're going to have some huge names coming in over the next couple months. We got people from Ring of Honor, Impact, everything. They're all hitting us up. Everybody wants to be on this show. I'm in a tag team. I'm also in a trio. So for me, it's all about the teams. Big tag gauntlet just to get everybody involved. We want to see who's the best. We want to prove that BGU is the best. So we got a couple of big names in this tournament coming up. We got Culture Inc., Exotic Youth, Top Team. We got the guys from CYN, Control Your Narrative. The Dicks are going to be there without the burnt dick. It'll be JR Miller filling in for Frank. TSF, Two Stupid Friends that we all hate. Hopefully they're out first. The Outrunners, who I'm very excited about bringing in here, recent OVW tag team champions. Outrunners are a big name. I'm looking forward to them coming in. And, of course, BGU. And we just recently added in the Workhorsemen to the group.
Yeah,
they were in our first show. They were on our first show in the main event against the Factory. We're looking forward to having them come back.
They actually contacted us. They're like, hey, we heard you're doing the tag tournament. We want in. We're the Workhorsemen. We want to work that. But, hey, come on through, brothers. We got you.
But again, Sheik's got his Sheik's rules. I did insert one rule into this tag gauntlet, BGU rule. Me and Brandon, me and Coach Bull get to enter the tournament whenever we want. There's a structured order for everyone else, but they don't know when we're going to jump in. So big surprise for somebody.
I would imagine
punch to the face from behind.
I would imagine it would be the last team, but you never know. You never know. Opportunity strikes.
Getting some wins and how to get them out of there. We'll see. I might.
That's right.
You never know. You do a fantasy draft in like NBA 2K or something, and you could set the draft order. You can start random, but sometimes you might just want to pick a little bit before the first pick or after the first pick. Get the guy you want, and then especially
I know Coach Bull is personally, he's been begging me to get in there with top team. He really wants to work those guys, so maybe we'll jump in there with them. I don't know.
I think Culture Inc. is like a really slept on team as well. Like I think they're really, really talented. I've seen more of Eli, like because I've seen like some of his like singles stuff in like Chattanooga and Nashville and stuff, I believe as well. But Malik, I like too. I think that they're really up and coming. I think it's really cool that they're on this show as well. I mean, stacked tag team.
Very exciting young tag team. Obviously we have Kaya Dream. She was on the last show. She's part of Culture Inc. with them. So she's bringing them along this time. And I think they're all going to show out. Speaking of Kaya Dream, she's tag teaming with her opponent from the last show, Hyena Hera against the Renegade Twins. And everybody's looking forward to that match. That match wasn't even going to be a match, but we had so many requests for people to see Kaya and Hyena tag together. They just had such a good natural chemistry in their singles match that people wanted it. So we're giving it to them.
And my girls, the Renegade Twins, said that they want to take them on. So, that's it's going down.
I got to ask, because people will yell at me if I don't, who's been contacting you? Who from WWE TV, from NXT, from AEW?
So I will give you a tease on the person from NXT has not wrestled since leaving WWE. Their match with us will be their first match back to wrestling since WWE programming. And they were NXT Tag Team Champion. And they will be debuting with us in January.
All right. Look at that. Oh, Jensen is thinking. He's going through.
My heart was racing. I was like, Jameson, don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Now
I gotta ask.
We have a lot of confidentiality agreements with District that doesn't ruin future shows because they also like to go through a structure of how our shows are laid out. So we can't reveal everything, but that was good. That was a good hint right there. If you do your homework, you'll be able to figure it out.
More names that we do have debuting coming up in November and December. We have Cody Hall.
Yep.
Scott Hall's son, the last bad guy. Big boy. We're looking forward to bringing him
Huge.
in. Next month, we have Suicide coming in of TNA, Legendary Suicide. We're very excited.
Okay, hold on. But who? But who is Suicide?
Which iteration?
Suicide. There's no. It's just
okay. Never mind. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Suicide's coming. Okay, got it.
The Suicide.
The Suicide. I see. The Suicide.
I already mentioned we got Captain Sean Dean coming in to tag with Kylie Bravo next month. We have Ray Jazz coming in December, and then we have a few other names that we're not ready to announce yet, but they're going to be big.
I mean, we did talk about this last time, so I will say it. But at any point, the boss could show up. And shit will go sideways. That's all I can say.
That's why I'm sticking around after the true main event in case the boss does show up because
he could show up this show, next show, December, January. He's got a busy schedule, but he told me if the stars align, he'll be there.
That's the nice thing about it, man. I actually had this conversation with QT. Is it started off, and it mostly is a student show. It's for people that haven't gotten opportunities or are looking to get opportunities. But there is, I personally like bringing in some bigger names. I like the bigger talents to come in and mix it up with the students, or not even the students, but the people on the indies that still are trying to find their way and give them some opportunities that maybe they otherwise wouldn't get. And it's worked out really well so far. Everybody's had incredible matches. The show's been great. The wrestling's been awesome. So we're really happy with the way that it's worked out between the mix of talent from top people all the way down to students.
Just one example, great example of the banger we had last show was Khan versus Parker Lee.
Oh, I loved it.
Phenomenal match.
Khan was putting holes in Parker's chest with those chops. Go back and watch just the chops, man.
I stepped outside for a second to get some air, and I heard a gunshot. and I ran inside and I looked Jameson in the face and I said, "What was that? Do we need to evacuate?" And he goes,
And I was bent over laughing.
Yeah, after he gathered himself, that was Khan chopping Parker Lee in the chest. I was like, "Oh my God." It was crazy.
And the show is on YouTube for everybody out there.
Yes, it won't be live stream, but we load them up in the next day or two. Impact does an awesome job. He has the shows ready to go. He puts out the Instagram clips immediately. So YouTube, it'll be like a day or two and it'll be up.
Really, to be honest with you, if you're in the area and you can make it, come and see the show because you'll see it a day or two before anybody else. You'll see everything happen. You'll see all the spoilers, and there's nothing like it live. If you gentlemen been to our live show,
Jensen has.
Well, I've wanted to. I haven't been able to make it yet. It's tough on Sundays for me sometimes because it's like the one day I have with family, so it's like that's the one day. When it was live, I was watching the live stream. I was staying with y'all when it was like going in and out and like changing around and stuff. I was following along.
We had issues with that.
But big reason we use Impact now. Big reason we use Impact visuals.
But I would have family time, man. Big fight coming up Thursday.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Thank you for reminding me. But no, I appreciate it. And Jameson's reached out about me coming out to the show and stuff, and like it's something that if I'm able to make it, I absolutely will. And if I can't, I'll be sure to still put the links out there and tell people to go support it and everything. Absolutely.
We appreciate you for doing that, but I will say this. If you come, I guarantee one thing. Whether you're a wrestling fan or not, you will have a good time. You will 100% have a good time.
We've been getting a lot of non-wrestling fans, and that place is lit from start to finish. They go nuts.
Well, it's cool because it's like the tiered like setup in there where people are like standing like above the ring and stuff. So like even if you aren't a wrestling fan, you go in there, get a couple drinks in, you're just having a good time hanging out. Like it's cool. Like you got wrestling right there, like this great presentation. And I love how y'all have like the screen, like that big screen that you can see from like the way like the camera set up. You know, it's really well set up.
Last time the lighting guy wasn't there.
Okay.
This show we have it up. Ali has actually been taking a lot of his own personal time to make everybody custom Titantron, entrance
videos. Yeah.
So that's going to be pretty awesome when that gets going.
Like we said, we're not just in-ring performers. We go beyond that. So I definitely took some time out and took my little tech skills and have been assembling Titantrons and songs, like copyright-free music for people that they could use to give them their identity at CDW. And so when you come in, you'll start to connect with our wrestlers more by that and through their music and their entrances, which is such a big part of wrestling. As you guys know, any favorite wrestler you have, you can imagine their entrance. When their music hits, you go crazy. The glass shattering when Steve Austin comes out. The if you smell when The Rock comes out. Any of that stuff. The guitar riffs when DX comes out. It connects you to the wrestlers. So we're going to have a lot of that going on into the future.
That's a big thing for us, like putting these shows together. I didn't want it to be just another indie show where it's like you have your 8 matches, people come out, they have their match, and that's it. When I watch wrestling, I watch Monday Night Raw, I watch SmackDown, I watch Dynamite, I watch Rampage. You think about Nitro. You want to go watch a wrestling show. You want to see what you see on TV. So we want it more TV wrestling based as opposed to just show up, watch these matches, and go home. We want it to be a full experience where you're coming out to State Farm Arena and you're sitting down and you're having a 3-hour experience of all wrestling, not just the matches. You get the entertainment factor, you get the lights, you get the music, the sound and all that. You get the people around you, the crowd going nuts, the stories, everything going on outside of the matches other than just the actual wrestling. We want to incorporate everything to give people the most, the best experience possible.
The venue has upgraded their fog machines. They got these crazy hazers that fog up the place. They got these crazy lasers now that go through the fog. They give you this crazy effect. Like we said, the lighting guy wasn't there last time, so show 2, not the best example of what we can do, but show 3, we got everything in full effect. They got these lighted orbs on the ceiling that I'm sure you guys have seen that drop down. So even if you are standing up there and you get kind of a bird's eye view of the wrestling going on, you got these orbs that'll come kind of into your vision and give you this cool effect. So it's an experience, and I think everybody should come and see it at least once.
Yeah, and I can tell even just from the sound you can hear. When you're watching the show, on YouTube, you can hear, the crowd's they're making noise, for most of the show. It isn't people just sitting there, not moving or just being what is this? It's people are actually making noise and into the show, which I think is really cool. Jameson, I didn't. I wanted to make sure to not forget to bring this up. My brother, a boxing trainer out of Atlanta, Georgia, Brian Jensen. Shout out to Steel Boxing and Athletics. You have some friends who have some fights coming up. If you want to go ahead and plug that real quick.
Yeah, two of my best friends, Joe and Rich. They'll be fighting this Thursday for what is it, Buckhead Fight Night, charity fight night, I believe it is.
Something like that. I always forget the names of those shows, but it's a charity fight.
Corporate fight night.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll be there cheering them on. They'll win, of course. Joe's undefeated with your brother's help, of course, and Rich will be boxing for his first time, but he's going to win too. These boys are tough, and they'll be at our show on
He's
Sunday.
also undefeated. He's also undefeated.
Yeah, also undefeated.
Yeah, 100%.
But they'll be at our show as well on Sunday cheering us on, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, they were there. I know for the first show, right? Because my brother watched the first show with me on YouTube, and he was like recognizing people that were like in like the front row and stuff.
Yeah. So when we walked out, like I opened up the show, I walked out, and the first person I went over to was Joe and Rich. Were standing right there.
Perfect. Yeah, we also have two of our competitors going into an MMA setting on Saturday night at NFC, which is also happening at District. NFC, the people that run that show came and saw our show, and they loved it so much that they're like, we want to showcase some of your talent on our show.
They do the night before us at District, so we're paired up every month. They do the MMA, jiu-jitsu, grappling. They do all kinds of different fight styles on Saturday.
A lot of amateur jiu-jitsu, going on.
Speaking of NFC, the person who won our first ever title match for the Diamond Championship title, Austin Green, will be returning this Sunday to Championship District Wrestling, and he will be returning as the new NFC Fights heavyweight champion. So he is technically double champ. He's coming back, and he's going to have a match against anyone and everyone. He's just going out there, and anybody that wants to get in the ring with him can get beat up by him.
Oh, yeah. I have a gift for Austin Green, which is I'm going to feed him as many bodies as he wants, okay? 2 people could come out, 4 people, 5 people, 10 people. You never know. We're just going to let whoever thinks that they could beat him come out. It's an open challenge. They can come out and go to the ring and try their luck. It could be ring crew. It could be staff. It could be anybody that's on the payroll because they're all insured. They can come out and try to beat Austin Green. Will they beat Austin Green? That's yet to be told. But I know one thing. This guy,
he can't even get fights in MMA because nobody wants.
That's why I'm giving him this gift.
How big of a monster he is. He knocks people out in 30 seconds. It's unreal. Nobody wants to get in the ring with him, so that's why we're doing this. It's just an open issue challenge. Anybody and everybody get in the ring with Austin Green and get knocked out.
We would go into a fight 2 weeks out, 1 week out. His opponent would back out. It's happened to us so many times. Austin he's ready to go, and he can't do anything. And I wanted to reward him. So I said, I called my lawyers. We found some loopholes. They said if you do an open challenge, it doesn't have to be restricted to any weight, any height, any age. You don't have to wait 2-3 weeks. The anticipation won't be there for people to run off and get scared. You could just, issue an open challenge. Whoever comes out, they'll have to go against Austin.
Yeah, I can walk and talk. We're closing up, so I.
Good time to wrap up. Okay, not a perfect timing. Awesome. Well, we would normally ask what the coolest thing in your rooms are. We did that last time. I know that you guys are not probably in the best spots currently.
Jameson's just going to show off the entire showroom.
Jameson's in the coolest room that you've ever been in.
Okay. Sorry. That's very true. Yeah. Show us the coolest diamond.
Show them the picture of MJF with the ring. It's right over there with the Jets bottle. Turn around behind you.
Oh, yeah.
If you go over, walk towards that wall, look over the showcase. You'll see the Jets bottle. A little bit, look down. You'll see the Jets bottle. It's a Jets water bottle. You see it? Yeah, there's a picture of me and MJF right there.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. I say Jameson's got the coolest thing we're ever going to show on this show.
Let me get a closer.
That bottle was also signed by all the defensive linemen of the New York Jets. So that was also that's also a cool thing.
And then right here.
Look at
Very
that.
Cool.
There you go.
Guys,
coolest thing in my room is this 120-inch screen right here.
Yeah, that's
with a Sony laser theater projector that they use in cinemas. So
damn,
that's pretty much the coolest thing in my room.
Large. but I can't be surprised. I mean,
this is just my
stars over here. I mean, this is nothing.
This is just my basement in Lawrenceville, Georgia. It's not even my only basement. So
yeah,
it's one of them.
Awesome.
Guys,
real quick, I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer. We've been on here for a minute, but if I could just read through the card real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
So main event, not Sheik and Carly, although in Jeremy's heart it is. Nick Camarado versus Psycho Boy Fodder. We have Diamond Sheik versus Carly Bravo for the Diamond Championship title and a Sheik's Rules match. We have Angelica Risk versus Kelsey Reagan. Vari Morales versus Teriyaki. Dave Stage with Trip Jordy versus Dylan Lesson. Parker Lee versus Caleb Kennedy versus Randy Wentworth of Snowflake Mountain Netflix fame. We have Shaza McKenzie versus Caitlin Alexis. We just added to the card today. The tag gauntlet, which we already talked about. We have Noel, who is discovered by David Crockett himself. He's a 6'7" monster athlete who we're looking forward to bringing in. He's going up against the Monster Factory, who's also been acting lately.
He's going up against Jai Cole, is what he was going to say. Jai Cole. I don't know if there's any more matches. Honestly, he has the card, so there we go. We lost you for a second. At Jai Cole, we lost you.
Jameson has that mall Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Mall walk. I gotta get my steps in.
So we lost you at Jai Cole.
Jack, he's been doing some acting lately. He's breaking into Hollywood, but he's training on the Monster Factory. He's a big boy. So him and Noel, we got to reinforce the ring because those two monsters are going to tear each other up.
I don't know how Austin and Ben are going to feel about that because they're. They like to think they're the biggest ones.
I don't want to spoil too much, but we are working on a big man division. It's going to be just all the big horses that we can find on independent wrestling. We'll bring in some people from AEW and Impact. Anybody that's got them, the big boys, we want them. 6'5" plus, 300 pounds plus. Bring them all. We want them.
Oh, yeah, I know Anthony Ogogo has done some stuff with y'all. I could see him being a part of that. That'd make a lot of sense.
Oh, Ogogo, we're working on bringing him back. He's over in London, but when we get him back, he's ready to go full Hulk Hogan and take down some of these guys.
There you go. Well, Jameson, let the people know where to find you on social media and all that stuff as well.
Instagram at Pose Malone. On Twitter, it's at Pose Malone, JRY. And then you can also follow the district pages. It's district_wrestling on Instagram. Sheik, I don't know what it is on Twitter. You made that one.
I think it's C District W on Twitter.
Yes, that is, yeah.
That's our email as well, cdistrictw@gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
Email about bookings, any sponsorship opportunities. We are looking for sponsors. Please hit us up. We'll put your shit on everything.
And Sheik, anything left to plug for your own personal stuff as well in the diamond business?
So, if you want to get the best jewelry in the world made, contact @Lux Jeweler on Instagram. That's jeweler without the S at the end. Lux is spelled Luxe. If you want to contact me for bookings or to work on district or whatever, you can contact me at Diamond Sheik on Instagram, at The Diamond Sheik on Twitter. And then, of course, just like last time, I'm going to say it's a tough world out there. If you need help, reach out. There's people here to hear you. As you guys know, it's October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So support anybody. We've all been affected by cancer one way or another in our lives, whether it's through someone we know or someone we know that we know. But even that connection it's too many people being affected by the disease. So either one of those things, speak out, get help. We're all here in this together.
Yep. And I went out the wrong side of the mall, so I got to go back through.
Oh my God.
I think you said it last time, Sheik. Like great body. The brain sometimes just the decision making.
Wait, can we take 5 seconds of silence?
Wrapped up in my brain between this district wrestling show and workouts. That's about all the space I have. Where I parked my car is this thing furthest from my mind.
I want to take 5 seconds. 5 seconds of silence just to stare at you. God, he's beautiful. All right.
There it is.
This beautiful man. Beautiful man. Oh, there we go.
Shredded. Dude, shredded.
$1 billion body, baby.
Basically natural. Basically clean.
Basically
clean.
Yeah. Cleaner than the motor oil you put in your cars.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, I'm not judging over here. Guy looks great. You guys are killing it. Thank you so much for joining us again. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on, guys. Jensen, hopefully we'll see you Sunday.
Yeah. I'll definitely let you know. And if not this Sunday, I assure you I will be there at some time in the future. Absolutely. Just
November 27th is our next one. November 27th.
You know what? That one's possible because I without getting into it, I'll probably be free around that time of the month. Actually, so I'll probably be.
Get your turkey, get your wrestling.
Yep.
Nothing's
also,
more American than Thanksgiving
give
wrestling.
A shout out to our guys over at Tapped Out Podcast. They've been doing a lot of advertising for us up. They love the show. They came to the first one.
They don't even speak about indie shows. They don't even talk about indie shows.
The one host, Myron, it's his birthday this Sunday, so we're putting them up. They're gonna have a great time, coming to get drunk. And yeah, they don't talk about indie shows. They only talk about the mainstream TV shows. So the fact that they're putting us over every week tells you something about Championship District Wrestling, is that you need to tune in, watch, and subscribe to our YouTube so we can monetize that motherfucker.
That's right, baby.
Guys, we appreciate it. It is Championship District Wrestling. It is Sunday, October 16th. Under this video, you can check the link out. There will be a link to the Eventbrite. There will be a link to the YouTube page and the socials as well. Watch it when it hits on YouTube a couple days after the show. If you're in the area, the Atlanta, Georgia area, go check it out. Go support these guys. They're always very kind to us. We appreciate you guys coming on. You guys enjoy your week. Have a good show on Sunday, and we'll be right back here on the Spotlight, everybody. Big thanks to the Diamond Sheik, Jameson Ryan, for their time, as always. Great guys. Great guys. Salt of the earth stuff right there. Check them out, Championship District Wrestling. Again, the links are below. Please support them. Check out their YouTube. Subscribe. Watch, as Jameson said, so they can monetize that motherfucker. Watch the show when it airs. It airs on Sunday. When it comes out next week, I assume. And I'll make sure to promote this on my social media as well. And if you're in the area, the Eventbrite, go check it out. Get your tickets. Head over. Say hi to those guys. Go support what they're doing over there. Guys, it's going to wrap it up for us today. Let's see. What do we got? Day after Dynamite with Will Washington. Later on today on this channel, 3 o'clock. We'll be reviewing last night's Dynamite with a special guest. I will potentially do my typical run-in. And check out last night's Dynamite review show with Alex Pulowski and the very talented Jonathan Alba. Happy to see him on the channel while Sean is being a part-timing vacation bitch over in Toronto. I believe he's in Toronto. I don't know. He just travels. He just goes places and doesn't tell anybody and just goes on vacation all the time. Must be nice. Really must be nice. Guys, enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. Everyone, take care of yourselves. Subscribe to Fightful Select. Go to Fightful.com. Thanks everybody for support. Love you guys. Bye.